Hello everyone, quick sound check for me, and... Right, can one of the players say something?
Oogly woogly.
Okay, there, it's all good. After last time, I just wanted to make sure everything was working from the get-go.
Jesus Christ, how many people playing at once?
6?
Wow, that's quite a lot for this game.
Yeah, we'll manage.
Yeah.
Okay, so a swift recap. Warned by various magical means that something horrendous was coming to Ellisland, and in particular Albion, our gallant band of heroes have set out to stop many of these horrible things happening. They ventured into the Wistram Wood and put an end to Lord Tenebron, the vampire lord who was raising an undead army in the caverns beneath the woods. The caverns and the crypts. They put paid to him, and the army appears to be acquiescent. They then ventured south and took out Lord Montombre, who it turned out was not Lord Montombre, Earl Montombre, but rather a changeling, a half-fae, who had displaced his own brother to take over and had entrapped the real Montombre in the fairy realm. So they released him. He turned his loyalist army against the unnatural army that the fake Montombre had raised, and having slaughtered them, they and our gallant heroes, with the army in tow, marched on northeast to Clyster, where the forces of Algandi have taken over the port city, and where Aldred, the other barons, and King Hadric are preparing to lay siege to the Algandans to deny them entry further into the country. However, ill portents of doom have suggested that something may be going on to the north of Ellisland, in Glissom. So, we rejoin our heroes alongside the army as it marches on Clyster.
Might I add something about that ill portent? You mentioned Carradine had a vision or a dream or an out-of-body experience where she viewed some monstrous entity. I thought of a Cthulhu-esque version of the flying spaghetti monster that was apparently Baelor, right? These huge eyes making a gross, obscene, wet winking sound as it just hovered over the huge rocky foundation the city of Glissom is set on, right?
Yep.
Apparently shooting out beams of who knows what out of its eye. Single eye, two eyes? I forget if it was a
single eye.
Okay.
And the blast was striking the rock and glancing off, but the rock was slowly cracking.
Right. So a sustained kind of maybe assault or maybe time is not on our side. All kinds of symbolism maybe we can pick out of that. But
yeah.
We're heading where, gentlemen? To Glissom?
Well, you were on your way to Clyster, so currently you're alongside Montombre's army, minus the bad elements that were either slaughtered or ran away. So the road is churned into a river of mud by the passage of men-at-arms and hundreds of horses. Montombre still seems a little bit out of it, the true Montombre. He is staring around himself constantly at everything around, like he doesn't quite believe it's real. He'd probably pinch himself if he could pinch through armour, but he can't, so he doesn't. He does occasionally slap his horse on the flank and sort of linger to feel the fur and the heat of it.
If it's possible, either for myself or maybe one of the court apothecaries or physicians to maybe brew up the equivalent of a medieval tonic like Red Bull to get them focused, maybe wired a bit, right?
So there's probably a herbal version of ephedrine you could use to wake him up. It comes from a whole family of herbs, but it sounds about right. So yes, the apothecaries can fetch some ingredients for a tonic and brew him a strong glutinous tea of foul-smelling green liquid, which seems to focus him on the task at hand. But you've got plenty of time to talk. You can ride along together. Horses will have been supplied for you, so feel free to discuss what you want to do here.
Who or what is our target, gentlemen? Are we going our ultimate destination, along with the true Montombre? Are we on our way to oust the foreign invaders who are going to be crossing over? I take it. Do they have boats and a navy ready and so on?
Well, they've already invaded Clyster. You don't know
Okay.
much other than that at this point.
So I guess we're on our way then to go in and take out their heavies, their sorcerers, or their magic wielders. That's our job.
Potentially.
What do Madrock and Abbas think?
Well, I put a message up. I thought we was going to update Aldred, so he didn't think he was being attacked by an enemy.
We should probably definitely do that. I don't know if Montombre would have been able to send message birds or anything like that, or a rider.
Yeah, but Aldred wouldn't have believed anything from Montombre.
That's right as well.
And partly because I want to go there to see the look on his face when telling the news.
Should we expedite our journey there through a doorway, as it were?
Oh, you're the gal with the gate.
That's what I mean. Is that what we should do? Should we open up a gate and go?
Wasting your magic.
Is that your sound going wonky, Jack?
Yes, I think it is Jack's wonky, staticky feedback. Yes, heavy duty.
Sorry, I'll fix it.
Yeah, it's you.
Would Aldred trust one of us more than a messenger from Montombre's camp? If so, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, perhaps one of us could race ahead then. Caradin. I'm not sorry, not Caradin. I mean, Cesora or Abbas or Madrock.
Or since Jack's sorting out his sound and is a knight and someone who would be listened to, he could he could ride on my head.
That's perfect.
Okay. So Sir Elaine swaps to a fresh horse and rides on ahead of the army, which is just keeping to marching pace to inform Aldred of what's occurring. That way you can at least get the lay of the land and the situation.
Is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Great.
Yeah, so that way you can get the lay of the land and the situation in Clyster before committing to whatever it is that you decide to do.
So, two things. We're letting the knight go off on a diplomatic mission by himself.
That was making the noise again.
Oh,
That
that's
wasn't
sorry. That's someone in the next like a wall over using a drill.
Oh, okay. It sounds like interference. Well, it could be the interference from if it's an electric drill. Those can cause interference. So we'll just have to cope then. Unless you want to nip over and belt Sandra's face to shut him up. I don't know.
Someone mentioned diplomatic mission, and all I can hear now is the line from that Mel
Star
Gibson,
Wars.
Danny Glover cop movie.
Oh.
Diplomatic immunity.
Well, yeah.
And the South African boy.
Rhodesia.
Why would you want to go to South Africa? Because you're black.
Blick. You have to pronounce it like this. Blick. South Africa.
Can you just imagine mixing up a New Zealander with a South African?
Oh, that would be terrible.
Blick, please.
Yeah, New Zealanders kind of sound like nice South Africans. But for anyone who remembers Spitting Image, you'll never meet a nice South African. Which is a song
And
you should...
Spitting Image is coming back.
Yay! You should look up that song on YouTube. It's funny. Anyway, right. So Elaine rides on ahead. And you come within view of Clyster. There's a pall of smoke hanging over the whole city. And a lot of ships, either in the docks or manoeuvring in and out, depositing troops. There's a lot of ships floating around, all with great broad red sails, many of them flying golden flags, And there's a few ships that have the symbols of knightly orders upon them. Baron Aldred's tent is easy enough to find. It's flying his standard above it. So you can make your way through the armies that are encamped here and make your way to him. You fought in the Crusades. This is a horribly disorganized army here, same as it seemed when you met up at Aldred's to start with. Aldred's camp and the various camps of the barons, they're sort of close order. Their knights, their guards, their men-at-arms, those are in good order, but the overall organisation is pretty bloody terrible. You enter Aldred's tent. Well, Jack's dropped out, so I've been talking to thin air. Never mind. But he enters Aldred's tent and informs him of what's going on. Aldred seems a little bit reticent to believe it, but okay, you're back. You make it to Aldred's tent. The encampment seems pretty disorganized, apart from the barons, who seem to have organized their close guards and men-at-arms quite well. But the overall army that's getting ready to lay siege to Cloister doesn't seem particularly organized at all. There's a whole bunch of ships in the harbour with big red sails. Seem to be a few other ships with the flags of knightly orders hanging off them. You find Aldred's tent easy enough. It's flying his pennant at the top, and he just sort of grunts as you come in. Montombra's dead, then? You're muted, Jack. Still muted.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Good.
killed by my hand.
Excellent. So we don't need to worry about him or his army.
Well, you say Montombra has been killed, but that's only half the story.
Make it quick. We've got a siege to organise. Or try to organise, he mutters under his breath.
The Montombra that you knew was not the man that you knew him as.
What do you mean?
An imposter.
So, well, you killed the imposter then?
Indeed.
And his armies are scattered and nothing to worry about?
Better than that. The true Montombra is quite an ally, in fact.
Really?
Indeed. He marches to join your forces as we speak.
He looks at you suspiciously. What if you're not who you claim to be? I've fought Montombra for many years. He is clever and wily. The idea that he should just so conveniently be defeated or turn out to be on our side, it's hard to believe.
Have you ever known me to be a man who does not keep my word?
No, but that's you, and this may not be you. You, priest. A priest is just kind of napping in the corner of the tent. Huh? What? Find out if this is truly Elaine or some unnatural creature. He mutters something in Latin equivalent and sprinkles some holy water on you. He seems to be entirely natural, my lord, I think. Well, don't stand down the guards just yet. We'll wait and see if this true Montombra is truly an ally. And Aldred goes back to his maps and plans, leaving you free to do whatever you want. Probably not much else is going to happen until the rest of you arrive. But you're about 3/4 of the way to Cloister when you hear the hooting sound of a battle horn coming from the east.
Do we recognize what faction might use it, or are they pretty generic?
They're pretty generic, but it's a deep booming sort of sound.
Is it close enough for us to be worried about? Like this is an announcement of a charge heading our way, or this is in the far distance, like shelling artillery, for example?
It doesn't sound like a charge. It's just the sort of "we're here" sort of noise, so troops can find each other.
Is there any answer?
No, but some of the soldiers around you sort of loosen their sword belts and sling their shields onto their arms just in case.
Does anyone have any telescopes or any binocular equivalent?
Yes, probably. Some of Montombra's advisors have such gear.
Right. I'll get a loan of one of them and see who it is.
Okay, you ride off slightly to the side. It's a bit misty. The autumn mists are setting in, but you bring the telescope up to your eye and scan the horizon. And you see a huge, great shape with outstretched arms slowly appear in the mist. A great shadow.
Any
Becca.
emblems or any families?
Any what? Sorry?
Any emblems or any insignia or anything?
You can't make it out through the mist. You can just sort of make out vague, wispy silhouettes. And there seem to be other large silhouettes in the mist either side.
Okay.
There's another great horn sounding. And this time it's answered by a loud, piercing raptor shriek from above.
I'll look up.
You can vaguely make out the enormous shape of an eagle swooping overhead.
Okay then, so we're being attacked by heffalumps and being attacked in the air. Interesting.
And woozles. And jagulars.
Okay.
Do you want to report back to the others at all?
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, I'm not going to take them on my own. Not that stupid.
Okay, so you return to the column of troops and
Yep.
back to the others.
Yep. Well, guys, we're going to be attacked from the air, and we're going to be attacked by heffalumps. I couldn't quite.
A few of the soldiers around you hear that and start to sound alarms. Spearmen come forward to form a thicket of pikes and spears to that side of the column.
Nonsense. I haven't seen a heffalump in years. Not on this continent.
They were wiped out by woozles. They all got their heads stuck in honey jars and starved to death.
Won't surprise me.
Right, you are now hearing the thundering of hooves and what sounds like many men sort of marching or running in disorder, but very heavy-footed, so they must be in armour.
I'll use my spyglass this time. I can get any closer.
Okay, the mist slowly resolves, and at the head of this column of soldiers coming in from your east, you see a great battle elk, festooned with fetishes and charms. With Becca,
does it look familiar?
Yes, with Becca sat proudly astride it, looking even bigger and more dangerous than you remember her. And there are more battle elk in a sort of loose skirmish line either side of her. Plus,
Where's Sir Lane during this skirmish? Is he still in the tent?
well, it's hopefully not going to be a skirmish, but he's up at Clyster. You haven't got there yet. And along with the other battle elk riders, there are a bunch of ferocious-looking Northmen on foot, and the troops that you had stationed at Merkeen's castle on the coast.
Who else would remember Bex except for me?
I would, of course. It's our north, our fierce northern knight.
Battle Maiden Decker, yeah.
I'm rapidly changing into my best-looking outfit.
It's a welcome sight to have another boon companion join us in what will be hopefully the final battle.
However, Montombra's army doesn't know these people, and seeing a vicious band of northern barbarians appear is quite unsettling.
I'll try and see if I can find one of the head honchos of Montombra's, not Montombra's, ones who've got pikes up to lower the defense. It's an ally.
I will make quite a show of happily and like if it's at all possible for my body language to be open and not defensive as I kind of ride and call out a warm greeting to Becca and all the Northmen. If I know a couple of greetings in Norse speak, I'll call it out and kind of let everyone see that this is happy news.
Yeah. Okay, that gets people to lower their guard somewhat. Word eventually gets to Montombra, and the various soldiers lower their arms, especially when they start to see the men-at-arms from the castle as well. So, do you want to greet each other?
Of course. Becca, welcome. Your timing is impeccable. Soon we will face Baelor and strike his form forever from this world.
Greetings, Carradine. Where is the commander?
Further afield, he's organizing all the troops. Sir Elaine is already in council with them. We are just lagging behind.
Do you remember Captain Ector from the castle? Yeah? Young Ector?
Yes.
I believe so, yes. Have him and all the commanders maybe come forward and we can begin coordinating the disposition of the troops.
We shall send Captain Ector off to announce our presence to the field commander.
Okay. Yeah, he's the most acceptable looking one, rather than all the filthy barbarians. Yeah.
And this is Bjorn, and this is Sven, and this is Einar, and this is Ragnar, and
Yes.
etc. etc.
Yes.
You've been watching The Last Kingdom, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
And this is Ilsa the she-wolf.
One of my neighbors has named their dog Vidar. I don't know if it's in one of those shows, but they said it's a Viking name.
And Becca will point out to Caesora to the others and say, "That's the one there."
I'll stare at her. With my mask on, of course.
Yeah, blow you a kiss. So we all here.
Becca.
Yeah.
Becca.
We're all here. So when does the party starts?
When you get off your horse and say, "Where the fuck you been?"
Well, I mean, I can't say that because if I told you, I have to kill you. But
kill me. You kill me.
well, you
I've
killed.
laughed in the face of bloody death, love.
You killed
God.
Monty Bray without me. That's disappointing.
That's a mortal insult.
Leave some kills for me.
Looks like Becca's got some catching up to do.
You fucked up. I almost got fucking bitten by a fucking vampire. Fucking hell, whatever next? Yeah.
Don't forget my shenanigans.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and Kelton almost lost her fucking marbles.
Oh, where's Baron Forgetful? Where is he?
You know, what's his name?
Sir Albert. Where is he?
I do not know, Becca. I do not know.
Right.
We sent him ahead on a diplomatic mission alone. As I emerge from the horses brushing down my best tunic.
Good God, you mad fool! Alone, diplomatic mission.
Not my choice.
We don't matters military.
We don't see his head stuck on a spike at the moment, so I'm assuming it went well.
Right. You can catch up and swap tails, but before too long, you come over the crest of the hill, the last hill that leads down to the port town of Clyster, and it's spread out before you. Outside the walls of Clyster, at a considerable distance, are the forces of Albion, and it's a fairly disorganised heap. Nobody particularly seems to be in charge, though there are little knots of organisation here and there, where the barons and the earls have got their own house in order, but there doesn't seem to be any real overall kind of plan or preparedness going on. Clyster itself has a pall of smoke over it, and there is a constant trickle of refugees fleeing its well, not the gates because they've been shut and closed, but shinning down the walls or sculling away on rowboats to get away from the city as it is ransacked and pillaged. There's a lot of ships in the dock and out at sea, most of them with bright red sails and flying red and gold flags of Algandi. A few of holy knightly orders of the more vicious, zealous sort of kind.
The real kind of flesh and blood Rutger Hauer types, yeah?
Yeah.
Martin.
Does there seem to be like a ship that stands out, as in the command ship?
Yes, there's one much bigger ship, and it's all sort of gilt inlay. Big wooden fore and aft castles, the whole shebang. But that's in dock.
He's landed.
No, but very symbolic if it went up in flames, though.
Yeah, it would be a shame, wouldn't it?
Elaine must be at Aldred's tent, which you can identify easily. So leaving the army to sort itself out, you can make your way down there.
Do we have to wear badges or tabards to avoid us killing each other in the fit of excitement?
You don't need no stinking badges. No, they're not even that organised. Normally they'd sort of tie a coloured rag or something round their arm, but nobody seems to be even that organised. I mean, the households have their heraldry, which is how you would normally identify each other, but there's a lot of peasant levy and so on as well, who don't really have any such identifying marks.
Is there a fabric or tannery market, or is there, like, in this city, are there merchant princes, the equivalent of trade houses?
You can't get into the city because it's occupied by the Algandans, so you're just outside.
Algandans occupied it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surprise attack.
Why is there this level of disorganization, and who should be organizing things that isn't?
Well, if King Hadrick is here, he should be organising things.
Does he have a man here, a representative?
King Hadrick himself is here in a big grand tent.
Does he have court mages? Sorry for interrupting.
He probably has advisors, astrologers, that sort of thing.
Would I know any of them by name or reputation if I were to ask around, like, who's King Hadrick's, who are his greybeards,
Well, with the rise of the true faith, the acceptability of having mages and so on staff has declined. So mostly he'll be getting advice from the Archbishop.
Is Sir Roderick here, the Marshal?
Yes, he will be with the King.
Well, he's the most experienced commander, isn't he?
Yeah. Most of the knights have experience from the Crusades as well. So it's not like there's no experienced soldiers here. It just seems to be disorganised anyway. But anyway, you enter Aldred's tent. Alain is there, consulting with Aldred and his other men, looking at the disposition of the map. Fortunately, Clyster is a very defensible city, but it's also a very siegeable city. Trouble is, with access to the sea, they could hold it indefinitely, and with access to the land, you could besiege it indefinitely. So, without some sort of cunning plan, it's going to be a standoff for years, potentially.
Are the ships all together, or are they split apart?
They're clustered around the docks, but there are other ships on a sort of patrol screening the whole area.
I have an idea.
Greek
Cesora.
fire. Yeah,
not,
I know
not just Greek fire. Cesora, you have a few water. You have a few items of power that bestow you the ability to walk on water or swim great lengths underwater. Is that correct?
That's correct, my love.
You could very easily spend, although it will be drudge work, a couple of hours swimming out there, moving really quickly, laying, sinking ships.
Well, by using my snout, I don't think so.
Well, no, I thought you had picked up on the clue earlier. You've turned into a dolphin before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you expect me to use my nose to fucking sink a ship, you've got nothing coming.
Well, we've got those globes, haven't we?
We do.
That we never use because they're really fucking dangerous.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. If the ships are all together, because we can Greek fire them all like fucking guide dogs.
I guess, if their flagship went up, that would be a huge distraction for them.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes,
Taking
and
out
then
the
if Cesora, you could do a little bit of legwork beforehand. Like, you could very easily swim, find your way into the docks, past all their security, pop up, get a couple of soldiers drunk, and find out where their main their magazine is, if there's any equivalent of gunpowder or explosives, or if they have their own Greek fire reserves, and really set up a huge conflagration. This is perfect spy work for you. Absolutely.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was looking around, seeing if there was like a mothership or a main sort of like ship that stands out from the rest. And if that goes, the others will follow. It'd be like a domino effect.
It would be even better, however, if you could liaise with a resistance within the city and have them set fires all at the same. Like, when that ship goes up, that's the signal for them to begin lighting fires in other parts of the city and cause, all kinds. And then if they have any forces, have them then begin a few attacks, right? Slitting through soldiers' throats, maybe distract. That would be the signal point, the main signal point. So if you go in and liaise with a few of them, maybe set of things up. We can even throw coin in if we need to. Although if they're just patriots, they should be willing to follow along. I wonder if
could of course follow the same course we did with the fake Montombra.
We could do, yeah.
Please be a little more
the spell offense option. Take a shufty about, appear in there, take out the leaders. That is like such a huge advantage. It'd be a shame to not use it.
So then we need Cesora to go in and figure out where their leaders are.
And we're going to have to figure out.
Can you not do that remotely?
Oh, I can get in that castle, no problem. I don't know about you guys.
No, I think it means the intelligence gathering of where their leaders are. Is there a way for us to do that remotely?
Aldred's been listening in to you as you plan and scheme while he grabs a quick meal and a pint of small beer. Any such plan is going to have to be cleared by the king. He's taken personal command of the armies.
That might then explain why everything is so disorganized. He hasn't been in the field in years, right?
Exactly.
Hadric is too young. The problem is he's never been in the field. His father died young, so he ascended to the throne young. He's never been on a crusade. Boy's not even married.
And we would have to trust every single one of his advisors.
That's right.
It'd be much better if we did it, one, and let him have the credit. There we go. Everyone's happy.
I'll be happy with that team as well.
Aldred pushes the food around on his plate, picks up a piece of cheese, breaks it in two, and stuffs the two pieces of cheese into his ears, and then pointedly looks at the wall of the tent.
Yeah, good move. You see, now, fellas, I've got this drum, haven't I? Do you remember this drum?
Yes, Becca, we remember the drum. Yes.
Yeah, I never remember that at all. No need for it. Useless.
So how do you fancy a night attack aboard an eldritch ghost ship.
Well, I can provide the darkness if you really want, Becca. Smile.
So we could use the eldritch ghost ship to infiltrate or exfiltrate.
Right, Grim, I've got
Yeah.
a question for you. This ring of dark madness, what's the range of it? It says benight once per day.
Right, Benight is a spell. I think it's sorcery.
I just want to know.
I think
what's
it's
the
Dark
range.
Elemental.
Is it Dark? No, that's right. Dark Elementalist. Benight. Yes. Creates a zone of darkness 10 meters across, which you can direct over one or more of your enemies if they're grouped suitably.
Right.
And the zone moves into them with a speed of 20. Anyone failing to dodge finds themselves lost in an area of complete and utter inky darkness in which their combat abilities are reduced and a nameless dread comes over them.
Right. Well, I've got this ring, you see, Becca. It's called Benight. I picked up in my travels. So I can put that before everything useful.
Yes, Kerrigan, do you still have that hide-on potion?
I do indeed have the hide on. I also have a demonic stormcaller staff that might prove useful. And then I have something called Ring of the Veiled Aura. It hides with false aura. I imagine that might be useful to Cesar or myself if we needed to get in close. Me, I'm not a mage. I'm just a normal everyday person, you know?
Yeah, you're right, Kerrigan.
Yeah, so if we were to teleport in for another attack, we could certainly mess them up in all different kinds of ways and then get out.
Yeah, if we unleash the hide on in the city, but it might wreak havoc upon the populace. We need to find a
Not
very...
in the city, no, in the harbour. Sink the
in
ships.
the harbor. Oh.
The flagship.
Yeah, that's
Greek,
what I was thinking.
Greek fire the flagship. Put the hydron on the flagship. Sink the flagship and then get out.
Okay.
Cut the head off the snake.
Is there any way for me to maximize my chances to control the hide on? It says roll under your rank on D12 to control it.
It's a potion, so it's a set effect, so you can't
It's a
really.
set effect. Okay. Huh. I wish there was a...
I have an astral gate ready just in case.
Well, what's the range? How does this potion work? I consume the potion. Do I need to be... let's find it. It says pays 240. I might as well do some reading. I'll hush and read a bit. I'm sorry.
I
guys.
think you just shatter the bottle or pour it out, and then the elemental springs free.
What is the range that can separate me from the hide on? Is it sight or
I think
magical
I think it will follow you by magical connections until the spell stops working. So
right? Okay. Now, in terms of magical lore, when the spell to kind of control an elemental like this wanes, and then what does the elemental do after that? Can they just shift to their own plane, or do they angrily take their frustrations out of the environment?
It will turn back into mundane water at the end of the spell expiry. So it'll just go sploosh.
Okay. Huh. Well, is there a higher ranked military mage who could maybe take better control of it?
You're a player character and you're above level 6, so pretty much anyone here is going to be lower level than you.
Okay.
We are not going to get permission to do any of this from High Command, so we're just going to do it and take the punishment afterwards. Because if we succeed, then there'll be no punishment, and if we don't, we'll be dead.
Right. Okay, so the plan is then to use Greek fire on some of their vessels and then release the hide on in the harbor or the city, or both? Or hide on before Greek fire?
But all the ships are hostile. The city is full of civilians.
Right. Okay. And without their ships,
They can't escape.
they can't escape. And okay. And then ransom. Do these folk practice ransom like we do?
Yes.
Yeah.
They adapt to it. Okay.
Do you remember the ships? How many long ships did Becca bring with her? Could we counter blockade?
These ships are proper hefty military vessels.
Oh, you can't blockade with long ships. No.
Yeah, you can't really do that with. You can't really break it with long ships. You'd be better off landing the crews as extra soldiers.
Let's use fire ships, but then you've lost your.
Yeah.
The long ships are fast, and that's their best ability.
Yeah.
So I have an idea, Cesora. The dolphin ring you wield, is it something anyone can use?
Yes.
So if I were to borrow it, go into the harbor, find a safe spot for me to kind of plant myself while I unleash the hide-on their ships, and then when the hide-on is done, I use the ring again and return to us, ready to gate us into the city while these distractions are going on.
You can only use it once a day, Carradine.
Oh, once a day. Okay.
But for several hours, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So once I'm shifted into form, then I'm stuck that way. Okay.
Until you turn back.
Until I turn back.
Water elementals speak dolphin.
Do they speak? Sorry,
Is
what?
that an unreasonable? Does a water elemental speak dolphin?
Yeah, that's a good question. Would a dolphin be able to speak to a water element?
Well, it's a magical command link, so you could be understood anyway.
Okay, so would I be able to open up the hide-on in dolphin form? Would I be able to use it like that?
Yeah, just carry it in your mouth and then smash it against a rock or something, and then go.
Okay, so that's part of the plan then. I'll be Flipper for a bit. I'll unleash the hide-on. While that's happening, then once the hide-on is done, I'll return to our group, and then we gate into a target point and take the battle forward. So if it's possible, then I still think we should spend a couple of hours, Cesora, with you either bribing or coordinating with some partisans inside to set fires when the chaos in the harbor ensues. And of course, if there's a leak from the partisans to them, they'll beef up security in the harbor, but it doesn't matter because it will be an attack from below with the hide-on. So some of their forces will be concentrated in the harbor, maybe even if one of them talk. Well, so what we need then is fires in the city, at least on some targeted enemy positions. And then we need a point within the city for us to gate into in order to carry the fight to their heavies. So that's over on you guys to sort out.
I would rather go in the city myself, because the thing is I can climb walls up the elephant around the castle, get into the city streets, looking for partisans, looking for patsies, looking for whatever, pay them off, say to them this, that, and everything, and then get my way back over, and then join the fight. But if we're all going over, it's going to look a bit suspicious, because the thing is I work alone, if you understand.
Yes, this is why I'm explaining that you go in, you coordinate with the partisans, and the signal is chaos in the harbor. Once that happens, you have two tasks in the city: organize the partisans, and then find where we need to gate into. So maybe Abbas, is it Brother Abbas who needs to go with you in order to implant the destination into my mind? So the two of you may need to go in there to scout out a location.
Or Abbas could astrally project alongside Cesora.
Okay. So why don't we then work on that? I've got the harbor settled and our gating into a point. What we then need to sort out, I guess you guys need to talk about this. What you want to do is partisans, targeted fires, and then our strategic attack point. Who are we going to hit in the city?
Anyone comes across my blade. Anyone who's a threat to me or my friends gets my blade. Right, I'm going to go and deal with the patsies. Are you coming, Abbas, or are you just going to sit and drink?
He can do
I'll
both.
come with you.
It's not just deal with the patsies. Isn't the idea for us, as Becca mentioned, to gate our group into the city at a proper target? We need to organize or sort out who we're going to hit in the city.
Well, the question is,
if the leaders are still on the main ship, that's what we hit, rather than the city itself.
Right.
correct.
Also, would that elemental be immune to a storm? Could you do a double whammy?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the storm colors.
Storm would stop reinforcements coming in from the other ships.
Yeah. And the ghost ship that Becca can summon would be immune to the storm as well.
We got this sewn up, it seems.
So, right, let me see if I've got this right. So, Caesura is going to sneak into the city with Abbas psychically projecting alongside him. He's going to try and organise some partisans to set fires, and is also going to try and locate whoever it is that's in charge.
And remove them.
Well, and either remove them or note their location to bring in the full squad to take them on.
Correct.
Right.
And then
Also,
we have the hide on and the storm as backup.
And
So I've
Kerridan,
got a
that
couple of
brooch,
potions.
Hang on.
and Kerridan,
Right, now,
Kerridan,
let me speak. Right, so Kerridan is going to turn into a dolphin.
right, Kerridan,
And
if you're going to activate that brooch, make sure you inflict yourself. That's how it works.
Yeah. And unleash the hide-on in the docks, and summon a storm using this Stormcaller staff.
Yes, I have a question about the staff. Once you've answered everyone else's questions, I'll speak to you about the staff.
Okay. Well, so meanwhile, everyone else is getting ready, preparing, ready to gate into the city when Caesura and Abbas have located the right place to attack, to basically decapitate the enemy by taking out their leaders. So you're not using the Greek fire.
Was a conflict in there with the hide on and the Greek fire? They
Yeah.
take each other out.
Well, see, the Greek fire burns even when it's wet, so...
Yeah, but it would,
Greek
You
fire's
might
basically
hide on as well.
wouldn't it kill the hide on the Greek fire?
it would hurt it, but not very much.
Well, as long as we destroy the flagship per Kerridan, that is the aim. That's your aim.
Okay, so was there anything else anyone was doing that I've missed?
I want to give the assassin a couple of the flesh sculpt potions
Okay, just in case.
before he goes in.
Because if Kerridan gets into trouble, I can use the ghost ship to rescue him.
And the plan is after the assassination or kidnapping, depending what you decide to do for ransom. The idea is to escape on the ghost ship, yeah?
Yeah, if we
To escape on the ghost ship. I think I should probably have one container of Greek fire with me in case the hide-on isn't controllable by me. I could then at least swim to the ship and turn into dolphin form and then kind of dive back down and retrieve it, because I'll have to let it go when I change form, right? I don't want it in my mouth in case I have a seizure when I change back. I mean, I crush the glass fire vial in my mouth. So then I can, I'll dress very lightly or just in my night shift or whatever. And I'll be able then to, I guess, lob the Greek fire at the main ship and then dive down and swim. I don't know, as a backup.
Put the globe in a sack, and you'll be able to drag it along a lot easier without any pressure on the glass.
Right.
True.
Okay. That's what I'll do. And then should I, now with the Stormcaller staff, is it something I need to hold and control and kind of, like I'm in front of a cauldron, I'm controlling the storm all this time? Or
Yeah, you'll have to stand outside and raise the staff and do the incantations, but it will take a while to roll in. So
Okay.
you could summon the staff first and then take to the water. I mean, being underwater as a dolphin will protect you from the worst of the swells and everything anyway, so...
Okay.
So your plan is to summon a storm.
And unleash a water elemental, and start a whole bunch of fires, and locate where the leaders are, and then gate into where they are, and hobo murder.
Why don't you ask for the assistance of Farah Nasiri? Surely she could use her mentalist
She
powers.
is apparently elsewhere.
Surely she has joined us for this, our final battle.
You would think. Maybe she's elsewhere. Maybe she's in Glissom.
All right. I guess the only thing we should consider then is, with General Cheese Ears over here, are we going to basically let him know that to expect a few of these things happening? Perhaps he finds a piece of paper with I've predicted the future by looking into a fire. That way, he knows these things because he found it on a list, and he didn't plan, and he wants plausible deniability, right? So
Yeah.
I guess
Yes.
I'll make a short note. Oh no, that would be my handwriting, so I don't want to leave evidence behind.
Maybe he finds a note pinned to his ice chest. My plan for the siege by Caesura, age 33 and a half.
Yes, there will be an opportunity for a night attack if our raid goes well.
Night
because-
attack.
A night attack with both a K and an N.
A night attack.
Yeah, yes, a night attack.
A night attack at night. Brilliant. I like this plan already.
Okay.
So
So Aldred gets you a tent for yourselves, so you can hide some of what you're doing, and set up your own sort of camp and war room and so on. So while you're getting that sorted out, Caesura can try and sneak into the city with Abbas psychically projecting alongside him. So can we make an astral projection exhaustion roll? And for Caesura, what is your stealth?
26.
Ay caramba. Who's going to be on the walls? They are. Okay.
Oh, just a sec, me parcels arrived.
Okay.
Sorry, 27, Grim. My bad, 27.
Okay. Well, it makes no odds. Okay. So while everyone else is getting prepared, and you sort of agree that at the next tolling of the hour, whatever, that's when Keratin's gonna start doing things, and then maybe at the next toll after that, that's when you'll try and get the partisans or whoever else to start setting fires. But you creep away from the camp and down across the no man's land that's developed between the encampment and the city walls. The night is starting to set in, so the sun's gradually lowering. There are quite a few refugees still sort of spilling out, leaving the city, so you can move from huddle of them to huddle of them, staying out of particular sight until you get quite close to the wall. The wall here is in fairly good repair. It brackets the whole city from the land, leaving it relatively undefended at sea, but then you don't generally need to defend yourself too strongly against the sea. There are a few bodies piled up outside, and looks like there have been several funeral pyres of what looks like men-at-arms and guardsmen from the city itself. Someone's also been erecting wooden crosses outside the city and crucifying the various gentry and other people from within the city as well. Not a particularly pleasant sight, but you're up against the wall now. So how are you going to gain entry?
How high's the wall?
Let's see. Find a comparable city. It's about 15 meters high.
Right.
I could
Is there a
easily climb
moat?
over that.
Is there a moat around this?
No, there's no
Wall.
moat. No. But the top does jut out.
Right. Just thinking, because most castles have got like a, what would be not a back door, but like a service.
Is
not a
it
service entry.
is it like a new maintained castle?
Well, it's not really a castle. It's a defensive line around the city, so it's a defensive wall.
Yeah, but is it like new and maintained?
It's relatively
not
new.
New, I mean,
yeah, it's well maintained. So the walls are pretty
so
smooth.
then it's really hard to climb.
Yeah. But Cesora is like a specialist in, in climbing over things and has climbing claws and climbing skill.
The fact that we think of like castles as these like big grey structures with big cracks in them is because they're super old by our time. But when they were in the medieval period, they were like flush and like perfectly maintained and almost impossible to climb because that was the point of them.
Yeah.
So
there are gates, but they're likely to be well protected. The main gate, for example, has 2 towers on either side that lean out over the walls. Probably
like a service gate or like a side gate or anything.
There probably are some smaller gateways for guards and so on to operate sally ports and so on. So you can try and find one of those.
Yeah,
make a perception roll, please.
8.
Yes, you managed to find a smaller gate just big enough for a horseman to ride through. It is, of course, closed shut, and there is a tower leaning out above it.
Okay. I bet you all my bottom dollar it's locked.
It is indeed.
I'll try picking the lock discreetly.
Make a lock picking roll.
24.
It's a percentage roll, isn't it? I think.
Yep. 40% on.
Okay. Right. It's a big clunky lock, built more as part of the sort of structure of the door than anything else. So it's not that difficult to pick. So there's a loud clunk, and the door opens.
Stealthily.
Yeah. So there's a passageway through the wall, about as wide as 2 horses behind the door, even though the door would only admit 1, and going the entire width of the wall, which is about 4 meters thick, and then terminating in another locked door. Above you, there's a flat stone ceiling with holes in it and slits in the sides at angles.
I'll try and stick to the shadows and stay away from the holes and slits.
Okay. You nearly fall over when you tread in some fresh horse manure, but you manage to reach the inner door. Make another lockpick roll.
10.
Okay. There's another clunk, which sort of makes you hold your breath for a moment. And nothing happens, so you just slide the door open just enough and slip through inside. This appears to be a guard muster point of some kind. There are a few bodies laying around that haven't been retrieved yet. Most of them have slit throats. A couple of them look poisoned. There's froth at their mouth and their skin looks somewhat green. You can hear occasional sounds of battle, horns blowing, screams. Yeah, this is a war zone.
Have I ever been to this place before? This actual settlement before? No.
Unless it's part of your background, probably not, because you're a foreigner.
Yeah, I am. Right, because I'm just trying to figure out where the local taxis would be. I would think the slums of this area, this settlement. Is there any way out of this?
Yeah, there's doors which have been smashed open. There's a couple of inns which might be closed down, but they might be a good starting point.
Yeah, I won't check to the nearest inn.
By reputation, due to your profession, you know of the Hag and Compass and the Headless Orc being 2 inns in the city which tend to have ne'er-do-wells. The Hag and Compass is a bit more upmarket, but that's where adventurers might meet.
Okay.
The Headless Orc is on the fringes of the slums in the northeast.
Which one's nearest? Venture Pub or the other one?
You've come in from the southwest, so the Hagen Compass is probably the better one for you.
Why don't you go and check the Hagen Compass discreetly?
Okay. So you creep through the streets, from alleyway to alleyway. Occasionally a few townsfolk will run past, or a few soldiers in pursuit of them, but you haven't seen any defenders yet. There's a lot of looting going on.
Does it just look like they're looking for supplies or...
It looks like they're the invading soldiers just sort of pillaging anything of worth that they can find.
I'm ignoring them.
When you get to where the Hagen Compass should be, the whole building seems to be ablaze, and the fire is spreading to some of the surrounding buildings. Though it shouldn't get too far, because quite a lot of the buildings are stone here, and here in the sort of slightly more upmarket district, they're a bit more spaced out. But it looks like there was one hell of a fight here.
Does the tavern look like it's been
It's
burned down, or is
it hasn't collapsed yet, but it's well aflame.
right? Is it anyone who seemed to be paying attention to it, or is it still standing when it's jacked on?
There's a few mercenaries sort of stood around outside. Brigandine armor, tin hats, big square shields, crossbows, swords.
How many of them is there?
There's about 7 of them still here.
Are they wearing the insignia of the opposition, or are they just independent?
They have a pair of scales and fuck, I've forgotten the name. The city you've been staying on in the continent.
But the question is, are they working for the people who are ransacking this place, or are they just like watching this tavern just like
You
burn?
would think that they're probably working with them.
Pheromone.
Pheromone, yes. So they seem.
I'm not going to employ people who are working for the opposition because
Pheromone.
it's
Pheromone,
not right. But
yes.
I do have a lot of money I can spend in their way, and it could get me into trouble, and it can also get me out of trouble. I'll discreetly go round to the back of the tavern. Is there like a loading hatch or anything?
Yeah, it's burnt and blackened, but there is a hatch for deliveries of beer and so on down into the cellar.
Right, I'll head into the cellar, see if there's anyone down there.
When you lift the door, the hinge, damaged by the fire, breaks, and the whole door sort of falls through your grip and clatters down the stairs. You can hear the soldiers suddenly sort of moving and running around to where you are.
Do I have time to nip into the shadows just before they come round?
Yes, you probably don't want to go in the building, though, because you'd be cornered there. You've got enough time to duck into an alley out the way.
Yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay, so yeah, you draw back into the alley, and a bunch of these mercenaries come running around, sort of scanning the area. A couple of them go down into the now open cellar to look if there's any trouble there. It doesn't look like there's any real organised defence left here. So you might have to set any fires yourself.
Yeah. How many of them go down in the cellar?
2 of them, leaving the other 5 up above.
Discreetly, I'll start as on my way up to the posh so-called establishment, sticking to the shadows.
This was the posh one. It would be going to the lower class one, would be the next one.
Yeah, the lower class one, yeah. But on the way up to the lower class one, they're doing small fires here and there.
Okay. Yeah, so you start setting a few small fires that will maybe, hopefully, catch. So, small fires at stables where there's plenty of hay, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
A few of those are going to catch, probably. When you arrive at the Headless Orc, it appears to be intact, but it is closed, and the door and all the windows are boarded up.
I'll go round the back way like last time.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
Is there a service hatch?
There is, and you can vaguely hear voices coming from inside.
I'll sort of tap on it 3 times as if to say, just tap on it as if to say, well,
Shave and a haircut.
yeah, short the sides.
Okay, the door is shoved open with a pike. And looking down in there, you can see a bunch of what look like sort of local street toughs and roughs. And the cellar of this inn appears to be full of looted goods from all their neighbours and shops and ships.
Right. You guys want to earn some more dough? I need you to do some favours for me. Smile. Even though I'm wearing a mask.
Who the fuck are you?
Don Cesar of Megalor. But currently staying in...
Greetings, your highness.
Thank you. I just want to say that I am needing a couple of people to start a couple of big fires for me, and there's a lot of money involved. A lot of money.
Well, show me your coin, because Lord Baron von Bandersnoot does not work for random strangers.
Well, where is the Baron then? I'll give him his money then. Where is he?
Let's see the colour of your coin.
Okay, I'll chuck a gold coin at his feet.
Ooh, a whole gold coin. That's certainly worth risking our lives.
Well, where's the Baron then? You'll get paid
I'm
more
the
if you show me
Baron.
where the
I was
is.
taking the piss, you dim-witted woodface.
You call me a dim face and you'll be fucking wearing your fucking tongue around your neck.
But you
Right.
need us to set fires.
450 quid. 450 quid. 450 coins if you start 4 major fires in and around this keep, whatever you want to call it. That's 125. Is it 420? Yeah, 450 gold crowns if you can cause 4 major fires in and around this place.
Have you got the coin on you?
Yes, I've got the coin. Thank you very much, Jack. Yes, I do have the coin.
And what's to stop us just taking it?
I'm sorry. I just love how your bargaining strategy went from like 1 gold coin
he said,
to
"Show
the
me
value
the
of a
coin."
castle.
He said, "Show me the
Like,
coin." So I
immediately.
showed them a taste of what you can earn. It's common sense, Jack.
Well,
Not that
let's
stupid.
show us your pouch then. Let's see this coin.
Okay, I'll show a pouch in my hand. This is one of the pouches.
Payment in advance.
Tell you what, you do 2, I'll give you 2. And then when you finish the job, you get another 2. 450. Sorry.
Right, give us 225 gold then.
Will you start doing the fires then?
Aye, if you pay.
Aye, I will do, if you do the first 2 fires.
No, you pay us half in advance. We'll go out, set 4 fires, and you pay us the other half when all 4 are lit.
Is there any way I can convince them I'm not going to backchat them and you give me any...
There's no way
Shit.
they're going to do anything unless you give them some money.
Okay, I will give them 50 up front. So that's me keeping 400. So altogether, they get a further 400. If they get 50 up front, and they get a further 400 if they do 4 major fire.
No, half. I wouldn't set fire to my grandmother for less than 100.
I'll set fire to you, Baron, if you're not careful. Time is
You're not in a
clicking.
strong bargaining position here.
I've got to do this job, otherwise my boss is going to have my fucking balls for
Then
ears.
you better pay me all the money up front. Why should
You
I
said
give a
half.
shit? One set of nobles runs the city or another one does. Who gives a toss? If you want me to do anything, pay.
How do I know I can trust you?
You don't. How do I know I can trust you?
Exactly.
I don't, so pay up.
I tell you what, I'll give you half now and half when the job's done.
Hand it over then.
Will you start the fires then?
That's literally
Yes.
what he just said
Give
to you,
me
Cesar.
the gold!
Just give him half the money.
I work
give him half
alone, he
them.
says. I won't take the knave with me. It's good with people. No.
Give me the gold. Half. Now.
Literally,
We'll
the only
set the fire.
time I
I've
can
given
be
them half.
useful in this.
Glenn, Grim.
Yep.
Why? Grim. I've given them half up front.
Okay, so you toss half the money to him. They all crowd round
Yep.
and check in the pouch. Says, right, you bought yourself some fires. They grab a few barrels of
Thank
lamp oil and some burning torches and head off out into the deepening night. Right.
And I'll head back to where I.
Well, the other aspect of what you and the psychically projected Abbas were supposed to do was to find where the main bad guys are.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So
I'm actually past my psychic exhaustion roll.
You did.
By the neck of my teeth.
Do this thing for me, and I will pay you £1. No, okay, £5 million.
$1 million.
Jack, if you can see what I'm doing right now, you can kiss it.
Right. So how are you going to set about finding the leaders?
Employ the crier.
Just see the Baron. See what his gimps.
Ask for directions.
Is the Baron fucked off with his gimps, or is he still
Yes,
giving instructions?
the Baron has fucked off with the stuff to set fires.
Well, before he fucks off, ask, do you know anyone who's actually in charge of this show?
On which side?
I was asking before. The other side, not your side.
The other side, some great big posh ship came in after they murdered most of the defenders.
Yep.
But I don't think he's still on there. If I was them, I'd probably have taken the keep by the dock. Because it's close to the water to run away, and it's a good defensible point.
Okay. Cheers for that.
That'll cost you another gold.
Okay, I'll flip a gold coin at his feet.
Okay, well, he snatches out of the air before it hits the ground. Right, 4 fires coming up. And they leave.
Thank you.
Okay, so you want to sneak through the city to the keep by the dock?
Yes.
Okay. As you get within close distance of that, you can see the Algandan pennant flying from the flagpole here. Some more crosses have been set up in the scant amounts of ground around the castle with more crucified defenders. And there are ships disgorging knights and Templars and foot soldiers all over the docks. And the soldiers are slowly exfiltrating out through the city, taking house by house, building by building, settling in those that are more defensible, and gutting the others for wood, supplies, anything else that they need. In comparison with the Albion forces, they seem quite organised and capable.
I feel Assassin's Creed. How secure is the roof to this building?
There's a bunch of crossbowmen up there, and they look relatively alert. But Abbas can psychically project through walls without being seen or detected. You can't see him, but he can see you and hear you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Basically, if he can read minds, I'm just going to say, where is the overlord or whatever?
I don't think I can read minds while I'm
Give
doing
me a
it.
sign.
I need to concentrate on what I'm doing.
But he can hear what you say if you say it out loud. So.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sort of like in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll say that your sword that lets you see through illusions, lets you get a vague idea of when Abbas is around. Okay, so is Abbas going to project into the fortress?
Yep.
Okay, so you pass through the outer walls into the interior. There are a lot of soldiers here. Most of them seem to be the sort of personal guard of the Algandan king. And they seem to be quite impressive knights, perhaps a little too impressive. They've had a bit of a reputation of attending a lot of tournaments, being hyper competitive and not particularly chivalrous there. Algandi hasn't been involved in any wars or even the Crusades for quite some time, so their knights have been all over the place doing tournaments and spending an awful lot on their gear. So they look very well turned out, but you're not sure they're that used to proper dirty fighting. But they're very well equipped. And then there's the more humble but vicious-looking knightly orders marching around. None of the guards here, except those on the roof, are mercenaries. Everyone in the main keep seems to be a knight or a man-at-arms of some kind. Not even any peasant infantry here. Floating through the place, you can see that this is normally used as like a customs station, that sort of thing for controlling the docks. So it's not a proper keep exactly, but it has been set up to guard over the docks. So there's a couple of ballistae on the roof as well. You eventually find what you take to be the king of Algandi, a young, dark-skinned, dark-haired man with a pointed black beard, surrounded by priests and leaders of the knightly orders and his closer advisors, in a great room at the very top, just below the roof, with many lanterns burning and a great map of Albion rolled out before them. And they're discussing things in Algandan, so you probably can't speak that.
Could I climb up, chuck a book fire in the window, and fucking get the hell out of Dodge?
That would kind of suck for everyone else, so
Stick
no.
into the shadows.
You'd almost certainly be spotted climbing up this. Plus, the walls are slick with oil from when it was defending itself.
Lubrication oil, yeah.
Yeah. All the oil might help you slip in the back way, but it's no good for climbing.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'm not that way inclined.
So,
there's always
Abbas, projecting in, some of these holy men and knights do have a slight magical aura around them that you can see, but it's not true magic. It's probably some sort of aspect of faith. You would expect that spells and psychic abilities might not work on them as well as they otherwise might.
Well, agonizing doom walking.
Probably.
I've got 2 rings for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you nearly wiped out the whole
Is
team.
there a building opposite? Yeah, but I'm not with a full team this time.
No.
Is there a building opposite which actually overlooks the room they're actually in?
No, everything else is lower than the keep in this area, and there's quite a distance between it and any other significant buildings.
Bollocks.
So does Abbas want to check out anything else, or just mentally note the location for transferring it to Caradon?
I'll mentally note the location.
Okay. And that leaves you guys to wait for the others, then, as areas of the city start to go up in flames. So,
stick in the shadows.
Just a small point of order on languages. I don't know how much Bacchill Cicero can speak. If he's got it to any sort of reasonable level, it's really closely related to Alcandar. It's Latin to Spanish, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Algandi is more like Portugal, so it's another slight step removed.
The dialect.
I can only speak Agante and
okay, so you did understand them. Well, you would understand them, but Abbas wouldn't necessarily, unless he's got high back up. I need to grab another drink, so when I come back, it'll be Caradon's part of the plan.
No problem.
I guess I'm grab a drink as well. Quick, everybody say things that will get the channel banned. Somebody say the N-word!
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu!
You can always plug your game, old school.
Well, plug it again.
Well, you said it before we went online before.
Oh, yes. This October in the UK, Dementia UK are running a fundraising event called Raise Your Game, which is a charity board game RPG event. So, lots of people are running online events and face-to-face events. I'm going to run an online Dragon Warriors event in support of Dementia UK, which you're all invited to.
What server are you using?
If you send me the details on that, I'll post some stuff on my blog and social media and so on. Try and grab some more attention for you.
Yeah, the platform I'm not decided yet. It could be Discord, it could be Zoom. I'm not decided yet, but what the platform is going to be.
Okay.
Because I've got both. I've got both on my smartphone.
All right. I'll give you some time to spam that again at the end. Oh, that's all right, John. We understand. Shit happens. Are you able to talk now?
Thank you. I can talk now. The dog may lose his mind every now and then. I'll try and bump it off. But Mum's having a really bad day. She's really weak. All kinds of tremors and trembles. Old school, you mentioned something about a dementia event or so on? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Yes, Dementia UK, which is a British charity, they're running a fundraising event in October called Raise Your Game. So it's a sponsored board game RPG event. So,
do you have any family who are stricken with that or an illness similar to it?
Not personally, but I get to play more games and raise some money for charity. So it's a
win-win. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, we'll give you some time at the end to talk a bit more about that. And like I said, you send me the details, and I'll spam the ever-loving fuck out of it for people. So, yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. So, Kerridan, you're part of the plan. Yes, fires are starting to appear throughout the city in a more significant way. So it's time for your storm calling and your water-based hijinks.
I will, like the owners of Grimalkin, incant 3 times the spell I need, or is it 9 times they incanted the 3 witches in
It's 3 times 3, so 9, isn't it?
So it would be 9 times. What was the play, the Scottish play? Macbeth, right?
No! It's bad luck.
Oh, you mentioned the Scottish play.
now we're defunded.
Oh, no. Yes, I shall summon forth the power of the storm, the storm staff, as it were, to call in a vicious sea tempest to dash their ships against whatever they will be dashed against.
You have to creep away from the main camp and down to the shore, because it's fairly obvious when you're calling a storm, and the king might not be best pleased.
Indeed.
So you find yourself a nice rocky area where the waves are coming in on the shore, and raise the staff up high and call out to the elements, to the eastern winds, to the ice.
Wow, there's some lovely fan art of this moment.
While I am doing that, I doubt it will have. Just for the feeling of it. While I'm doing that, I will hold the hydon in one hand, in my left hand, right up against my heart, and the staff in my right hand as I incant. And I'll just kind of will some of the fury and some of the just if I have any ability to pull it in, even if there's no in-game effect, just mentally I'm preparing just to channel or just fool myself into thinking I can channel some of the fury and rage of the storm, standing here as I am among the elements with the dark sky above as it darkens and gathers. I'll call my mind back to the Nereid we helped back in Theros, was it? Theros or and just cast my mind to watery thoughts and just the feeling I got in that old temple, the rootedness I might have felt, and any activation in my shot, just anything I can feel, just to tie in with the idea of fury and water and elementalism, and how water, although it can defeat all things, it can also be shaped and constrained by the container it's in. And in this case, the container is my will. And I'll just kind of throw all of that together into my invocation.
Okay.
And you really, really need to pee.
Okay, so you hold the staff and the hydon aloft, and you call to the elements, and you bring all of that to mind. You feel something on the mystic plane, like a debt being repaid. It's like something on your spiritual ledger has been checked off. A weight that you didn't realize you were carrying sort of dissipates. And at the end of the invocation, sheet lightning crackles through the clouds, and a bolt strikes quite close to you, with part of it arcing into the hide-on. The glass doesn't shatter, but within the flask now, the water is crackling occasionally with sparks.
Oh my. I just got real tingles.
Was that a buff from Poseidon?
Poseidos.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Copyright problems, says Poseidos in this setting.
Let's hope it's good. It's good juju instead of the bad juju up the mountain, as Dawkins said, right?
Yeah.
Who owns the copyright to a Greek god?
The gods. You'll get a copyright claim from Zeus Inc.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
So, you're going to stuff that into a sack, turn into a dolphin, and speed through the water?
Indeed, I will. Yes, I will artfully lay the staff down somewhere and disguise it. I imagine I'll have to hide it here. I can't travel with it. And yes, I will dress down to my undergarments, I guess, my shift or whatever else I might have just packed along just in case, or maybe I would have cut a pair of old trousers off into shorts or something, and tie up the sack around my head and body. And it's the brooch I have to prick myself with. Is that right? I'll invoke the power of the brooch. And just before I finish doing that, I'll just double check. I'll spy out exactly where the ships are going and where I might anticipate them, shifting a little bit with the weather. Just try and calculate where some of the drift might be so I can swim a little more carefully. It's my first time doing this. And I will make the effort out to maybe to scout out a couple areas where I can rest or anchor myself a little bit as the dolphin then release the hide on.
Okay, so you prick your finger, pause a moment, take in the lay of the land, and then dive into the water. And as you dive, you shift into the form of the dolphin and splash right in, barely leaving a ripple.
Let's hope it's not a one-way shift.
It's amazingly freeing to be beneath the water in this form. You can move so fast with just a flick of your tail. And when you sort of let out a girly squeal of delight, it's as if you can see all the area around you from the sound as it echoes off all the rocks and the bottoms of the ships.
Oh, I could get lost in that real easy with the right forest chicken mushrooms.
They call him Flipper.
Calls on the lightning, terribly frightening. In your sound sense, you also pick up a sort of ping from a figure coming in from further out to sea, swimming through the water, a shape similar to yours.
Oh my! Well, I can't resist. Who could resist exploring a new method of? I'll just ping out a happy, like, "Wow, this is cool! We're pinging in the water. How are you?"
Ping. Okay.
Ping, 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 ping.
The figure, whatever it is, swims up closer until you can finally see her with your eyes, and it is the Nereid that you saved.
Oh my! That's cool. Look at me. Look at you.
She smiles and takes hold of one of your flukes and then points. She's going to help you navigate through.
Rock and roll. Let's do it.
Okay, so with the two of you, and she can keep up with you, you dart and whiz around the ships. The water in the docks isn't the most pleasant, but if you keep nice and deep, you manage to manoeuvre around it. Finally, she sort of pulls you up short and points upward.
That's the ship.
It kisses you on the snout, then twists away and disappears back into the darker waters.
Just as her first pulse goes, do you want to do the honors with the hide on?
That's for you. You sort of hear in your head. She can apparently communicate with watery beings.
I'll send a goodbye and a thank you all wrapped up in a good luck for your future. It all kind of wrapped up in a ping thought. And I will shake loose the hide on and kind of just hover about. Dolphins, I don't know if anyone knows this, but they sleep half their brain at one time, so they'll enter a mode where half their brain is asleep and they kind of float in the shallow water, and then they rise for some air and so on. So they're quite good hoverers. So I'll just kind of hover a little bit and alter my buoyancy a little and have the hide on ready, and then just invoke a brief prayer to the one true God and to Poseidon and to the Nereid and all the other powers.
So hedging your bets like Manny and the Mummy.
to any and all who will grant us a proper blessing so that good will win the day. And I will crack that hide on and summon forth its contents.
Okay. The moment the glass cracks, it shatters outwards. And the water swirls and purifies in all directions, but there's electricity crackling through it as well. It grows and grows and then emerges out of the water. And you can hear the sort of dim sounds of cracking timbers. Rock falls into the water in front of you with a huge spray of bubbles. But you can't see that much from down here.
I will pulse a good 200-300 meters away and quickly in my new form dive up out of the water and kind of spin and try and take a gander in with one eye as I pirouette at what goes on.
Okay.
Hit the water again and then kind of come back up and just kind of hover and try and maintain control if I need to, or maybe the hide-on has been supercharged. If I feel that I need to give it a nudge, I will. Otherwise, I'll just watch the glorious destruction unfold.
Right. So you get a brief flash as you sort of dive up out of the water and spin around and have a look. The hide-on has taken on a gigantic form, like a huge bearded man wielding a watery trident, which he just smashes into ship after ship. And electricity crackles from him and arcs into the ships. You can see soldiers being lit on fire by the lightning. One ship seems unaffected, but when you look over to it, there are dead soldiers hanging over the sides. There's an armoured man and a veiled woman at the prow of the ship. And the woman seems to be further empowering the hide-on with elemental magic, while the man defends her with his shield and occasionally points his sword to one of the opposite vessels. And when he does so, a spectral warrior appears and cleaves one of the soldiers in half before disappearing.
Nice way to fold them in. Very good.
You also think, but you're not quite sure, but you think you can see a slender boy or maybe a girl in the crow's nest peppering some of the surrounding ships with arrows as well.
That fits very good.
Okay, but yeah, wholesale destruction is going. The gilded ship is already cracked in half and is sinking beneath the waves.
I'll speed my way back to my peers. I'll have to borrow this again. Lots of fun.
Spend the rest of your life as a dolphin.
Do you remember, what was it, Andy McDowell in one of her movies? She only spoke in dolphin when she was drugged up. I think it was a Bruce Willis movie.
I don't remember that.
Was it the Hudson Hawk where she turned...
It was Patrick Duffy. It was Patrick Duffy, the boy from Atlantis.
I remember that TV show.
Of course, in Halo Jones, she learns...
Before he did Dallas, yeah.
Learns Cetacean, doesn't she? Because they pilot starships. Right. So you come back up out of the water, soaking wet, dress as quickly as you can, and move to rejoin the others. By the time you get back to the others, the hide-on has dissipated despite its various empowerments, but the storm has definitely picked up. There's lightning striking constantly, and waves coming right in over the docks and flooding parts of the city. But everyone except Caesura is now back at the tent, and Abbas has returned to his body.
Good job, Carrion. That was fantastic.
I merely await your command to open the gate, everyone. You now have control of the board, as it were.
Good job, Farah Nasiri. I knew we could count on you. You've never let us down.
Of course not. She's always there when you need her.
Yeah, always there when I need her.
Right, so we'll need a telepathy.
So, do we know where the top knobs are holed up?
Yep, they're holed up in the port keep. And we'll need another psychic exhaustion roll to telepathically project the location to Kerridan.
Oh, man, up just a second. That's under 17. We're good. Yep, made it. Keep just rolling under the exhaustion every time. Last 2 times now.
Good thing your level and stat increased. Okay. Then it's just down to Kerridan to cast the gate spell.
I will record the magic point expenditure, and once everyone is gathered, I will begin invoking the spell. And our DM will tell us if we all get through in time or not, or if I recast. So let me get my my little sheet of paper here.
Cesar didn't come back, no?
No, he's still waiting for the sign of you teleporting in, which would be some sort of big flash of light or something. But Cesora kind of climbed up the outside in the meantime, the oil having cleared off from the storm, ready to join by diving in through one of the windows or something. Okay. So you all get through without a problem, without the gate closing. Presumably you'll want to close it after yourself, though.
Of course.
Right. So can you...
get half the point then, don't you? If you close it before the duration.
Yeah.
Important.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get back half what you spent, I think. Or is it just 1 point? I forget. Right, can you tell me your reflexes scores, please? Now, Cesaura's 16, Elaine is 16. I can never remember anyone else's.
Mine is a 10 for Kerridan.
Okay.
11 for Madrock.
Mine's 18 now.
Yeah. Sorry, 11 for Madrock. And Abbas is 18.
Becca's got 13 reflexes.
Okay. Right, sorry to have to step away again so quickly, but I have to use the little Dungeon Master's room, and I'd hate to have to dash off in the middle of combat. So, be right back.
That's okay. Let's all take a 5-minute. Did Grim leave the stream on? Any idea? Maybe I'll act as if it is on. So.
Yeah, the stream's still on.
All right. Oh heaven!
The real dedication.
He would have taken the laptop in there with him, carried on.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I love how you brought Baroness here. Brought in Baroness.
Roll the dice.
Giorgio's a bit silly now.
It was a nice way to include them. It was a nice hat tip. But,
I'm more concerned about the Templars.
Uh-oh.
We don't know that yet, but when we find out, that's not going to please Becca.
Oh, we saw their sails in the bay. I'm just worried that does imply that the Algundy lot have got church backing.
I guess they have a papal
Which does mean
seal, yes.
Yeah, so we're going up against them, which is fine, but how legal does that make it? And can we trust the people of the church we've got? Not that I ever do, but that's me.
Well, they're going to die hard, whatever happens. Well, strangely, the ecclesiastical history of Albion mirrors England. We'll have to break from the Celestine Church.
I don't know much about the.
Yeah,
I was going to relocate.
I don't know much about the ecclesiastical history of England, other
for
than
some time though. It's
for some reason they have their own church.
they have ignored certain
Because the king didn't
historical
want to get a divorce or wanted a divorce.
things, like how many crusades have happened at this stage.
The history of England is basically like a long line of us getting invaded by
Yeah,
almost every other European
Wanted.
country.
but all his wives gave him head.
And then we got fed up of getting invaded, so we invaded every other European country for a bit, all at once.
Why did they all want to invade
They
England?
all hate
Simply because
us.
it
Because
was,
England's like a very strategic location. It's also got really good soil. Because it's an island, but it has like good land.
so it's fertile land and sources of tin as well, historically,
Yeah.
right?
So it's whereas in like France is like bordered by other countries that could potentially go to war with it. England at one point England was separated into 7 different kingdoms, so it was 7 different countries. And the idea was like, oh, if we can unite this one land under like one king, it would be like a powerhouse, and it was because that's what happened. But they got invaded.
You're not allowed to
by,
celebrate that on BBC anymore, right? They changed the music.
No, but like
No?
they got invaded by we got invaded by the Celts, then the Romans, then the Saxons, then the Vikings, then the Normans, and then we unified and sort of potted on for a bit, and then then in revenge took over every other country for taking us over.
And you've got one thing. And you've got one thing, Jack. You've got one thing. You've got one thing. Our Scots came down for the poll tax riots. You've got that.
So perhaps worst of all is you gave your German cousins ideas.
Oh, well, that's political, isn't it?
Sorry about the delay. Biology waits for no man. Right. So, Caradin invokes the powers, tears open the fabric of space, and you quickly charge through into the tower, with Caesura sliding in through one of the windows in the same moment, the moment he sees the light of the portal opening. The Algandan king, whose name I should probably look up.
Hashem.
Alfonso, surely.
Thing is, I've changed it from what the law says, so I need to extrapolate from what the law actually says.
Let me picture what he might look like. Maybe a very swarthy Mark Strong.
He probably looks like whoever it was that played Dorian Gray in that terrible League of Extraordinary Gentlemen film.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my. Some ratty mustachioed, black-haired, lithe gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Bieber with a stash. Little rat stash.
Yes. King Vergang died. That happened a while ago, so the new king is King Estebulo.
Excuse me?
King Estebulo.
Estebulo. That's
Yes.
vaguely Spanish sounding.
It's the same actor that played Thingy the Vampire in Queen of the Damned as well. Stuart Townsend.
Right, anyway. Yeah, you pass through the portal into the room, catching them by surprise. Prince Estebulo looks up from his table in shock. A couple of the knights mutter something that sounds like devilry or witchcraft or something, and everyone is going for their swords, but you have the drop on them. So, or at least, well, yeah, because this is a surprise turn, so you all have the drop on them.
Yeah, I would have tucked my potion of strength in my pouch, because I might be using that later.
Ready to use. Okay, so you'll burst through the portal into the room, weapons ready, Abbas, you're first because you've reached adepthood. So, what do you want to do?
Mystic Blast.
I am shocked, I tell you.
I might use the claw one day. Well, I might have to use it this adventure to get some use out of it.
Fossilise. That worked so well last time.
Yes, stop one-shotting my bosses, you bastards. Or at least eventually one-shotting them. So who do you want to blast? One of the fanatic knights, the king, one of the king's guard.
We'll go for the king.
Go for the king. Okay.
Why the hell not? Let's have a look.
I think it could be quite profitable to capture him, but
maybe you can
wound him a little first.
Maybe you can weekend at Bernie's him.
Is that Becca yelling that out?
Stop! He's worth money. Wait a sec. I'm a barbarian. Rah! Kill.
Not psychically exhausted. Not psychically exhausted. That's a good start.
Okay.
So speed 16 minus his evasion.
Okay, his evasion is 6, so
under 10. And we just rolled a 9.
Okay.
It's 3d6 plus 1 damage.
One moment, I have to look something up quickly. But go ahead and roll the damage.
14.
Does armor reduce that or not?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Okay. So, 16 damage.
14.
14 damage, okay. Okay, the air ripples as the psychic blast springs from Abbas's head, rips across the room, blowing the map and all its little wooden figures off the table, and strikes the king, staggering him backwards and denting the crown upon his head. But he's still standing, even though blood is pouring out of his nose. Cesora.
I finally got together for game night and you ruined it.
That's what we call a warning shot across his bow.
Cesora, you come swinging in through the window and see that scene before you. What do you want to do?
Snap, crackle, pop.
Okay, you summon 3 pixies. What do you want them to
do? Ring of Agonizing Doom twice to the king.
To the king? Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Aiming for the head.
The head. Okay.
Right, it says snap, crackle, and pop.
Yeah. Okay, so cross off 2 charges. You got 1 left in each ring, I believe.
Yep.
1 second. Should have learned where things are in the book by now, and yet.
Each spell, 2d8 damage minus armor.
Yeah. Ring of Agonizing Doom.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got enough time to get in, so you're not going to strike your own people. Can you roll 2d4, please?
6 for the first one, 7 for the second.
No, 2d4.
A d4.
Oh, 2d4.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be a grand total of 6.
6. Okay. Okay. Right.
I said something like Tom and Jerry just like come crashing in and then it goes sliding down the wall.
How many charges you have left in those rings?
1 in each.
Yeah, 1 in each. I like how your first action is just to explode the king.
Okay, one of the knights throws himself in front of the blast, lifting his shield. The shield takes the full wrath of the agonizing doom, and all the power crackles through that knight's armor and burns him, cooking him within his own armor. He is utterly destroyed, but no one else is affected by the blast. Elaine.
Probably scream heretics and charge towards the closest warrior.
Going for one of the Templar types, yeah.
There you go.
They offend you so much. Okay, what's your attack?
My attack in total is 25.
Okay.
Huge.
Take 12 away from that and roll.
My dice roll out. Beginning of the game. Oh, I hit. 100%.
Right.
In crit by hit.
He fails to block you with his shield, so you cleave into him. Roll armor penetration.
7.
Okay, yep, clean through the armor. And damage?
7 again.
Okay. Your sword of Valandar bites through the plate mail, rips into his tabard, and cuts a good few inches into his shoulder, probably breaking his collarbone. He grunts and staggers, but doesn't fall. Becca.
Okay, how many targets are there in the room here?
There's the king and his sort of 5 closest guards, -1. There's probably a couple of people just outside the door that will be able to react.
Right, I should charge into a Templar.
Yep. So you hurtle in towards one of the Templars. He vainly tries to get his shield in the way. Right, their defense is 12.
2.
Nice. Have you got an expanded critical or not? I don't think you do you? No, that's a knight skill.
I'd hoped to get that skill, but I didn't get it.
Yeah. Okay. Roll armor penetration.
7.
And roll damage.
Ow. 13.
Nice. Right. You hurtle forward with a blood-curdling cry, straight in towards one of these Templars, who tries to bring up his shield and his sword in your way. You cleave through his shield and into him beyond it. So you cut the shield in half down to the boss, and through the top of his helmet halfway into his skull, and kicking his twitching body from it, and wheeling on the next target.
Ouch.
Yeah, Madrock.
I want to. Is there a key in the lock
To the door. Yes, there is.
Nice. Then that's getting turned.
Okay.
That'll stop the reinforcement.
So you so you belt across the room, slam into the door, and twist the key quickly.
And if I've got time, I'm also going to take a huge sniff of one of those dodgy powders I picked up from the Desert Nomads.
Okay. Fine. You've got the effects noted down, do you?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
It's on the sheet.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 left now.
Yeah, your pupils turn into pinpricks, and you start frothing at the mouth. All right.
Hey.
And Keratin.
I will firmly grip my Legion baton and expend the magical energy to cast Enslave upon the Foreign King for 3 MP.
Okay.
Magical energy.
So what's your magical attack?
24, I believe it is. 25.
25. Okay, take 10 away from that and roll.
15. All right. No, I rolled a 16. Bloody hell.
Oh.
Okay, you try to take over his mind, but the adrenaline of battle seems to have steeled his will against yours.
Can I utter a sentence out loud? Just a 1 or 2 idea sentence?
Yeah,
as part of
go
my
for it.
act? All right. I'm going to try to control his mind. Keep him alive for the ransom.
Right, new turn. Let me just figure out where they are. Two, three, four, 6, and the king. Okay, so new turn, no longer ambush, so they will get to act. Abbas, you'll go. One of the knights is closing in on you.
Right. I will try to paralyze him with paralysis then.
Okay.
Go for something different for a change.
Okay,
So
roll for
that's a
psychic
level.
exhaustion.
Okay, it's level 6, so that's under 15 for that. I'm glad I made this cheat sheet, saves having to do all the math. Uh-oh, rolled a natural 20.
Okay, so your brain burns out. Fizz,
Still works,
pop,
though.
but the spell still goes.
So,
His magical defense was... Oh, where's it gone? There it is, 10.
my magical attack is 23. So it's the difference do I roll under there?
Be 13 or under you need to roll.
Yeah. Yep, rolled 11.
Okay. So he has drawn his sword and is stepping towards Alain when he suddenly freezes in place. Teeth gritted, eyes darting. Right. So it would have been his go, but he can't do anything. But I'll roll to see if the spell ends. It doesn't. Caesura, one of the knights is moving towards you. What do you want to do?
Unsheath the twins and go into a combat position. So when he comes to me, I'm going to parry him and hit him.
Okay, so you keep your blade back to parry, and he does close in,
Yep.
so make your attack. His defense is 12.
4.
Okay, roll armor penetration.
9.
And roll damage.
7.
Okay, so you knock aside his blow and stab your blade into him between two plates of his armor. It doesn't go too deep as it hits the chain undershirt, but you think you've ripped a couple of links off and cut the flesh beneath.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. And there go. So, what's Abbas's defense? You muted?
11.
11, okay. Right, one of the knights comes in towards you, with his shield held up in front of him, muttering prayers against your foul magics, and stabs past the shield to try and strike you. He hits. What is your armor rating?
5.
It glances off your armor without so much as a bruise, and he curses. The king can't move. What's Caesura's defense?
15.
Right, he can't land a blow on you. You're just constantly warding him off, and that's what made the opening for you to cut him. The king just stands frozen in front of Elaine. One of the Templar types moves in on Becca. What's Becca's defense?
My defense is 16.
16. Okay, so... Yeah, you ward him off easily with the sword, moving around him. rapidly, parrying him off. Madrock, one comes charging in behind you. What's your defense? Well, it's 0 with that stuff, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it's either 0 or 2. It depends on how you read the can't defend thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll allow you 2 then.
If it's no defense, then not a lot different.
Okay. Right. You're in the...
It reduces it down. I can't defend. I don't know if that's a...
right. He comes up behind you while you're sniffing the stuff. What's your... no, your armor doesn't matter because he scored a crit.
Oh, that's rude.
Yeah. You take 7 wounds as he stabs you in the back.
Okay.
Which was a rather...
is this stuff... Does this stuff kick off on my next turn, or does it kick off now?
It's taking effect now.
I'm not...
But you can heal off the amount that it allows. So you can heal back those 7 wounds straight away.
Nice!
But that's all the healing effect.
No, it's only 5.
Is it 5? Okay, so you still take 2 wounds.
It's only 5, but that's still brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
So he stares in disbelief at the wound closing as he drags his sword back out of you. Devilry! We're being attacked by devils! Right, and... Kerridan, 2 knights are closing in on you. You'll have to split your defense between the 2 of them.
Oh my. My defense is 7, so 4 and 3.
Okay, they move apart slightly, and it looks like they've got some experience fighting magicians. So one swings at you, and as you sort of ward him off and duck and weave around that blow, the other one is able to land his blow against your side. What's your armor rating?
God. 2? 2?
Okay. Take 4 wounds and lose 2 magic points.
Oh my, they have some kind of magic stealing weapon. Uh-oh.
It's only a glancing blow, but you're cut, your muscle is sliced, and you feel the blade leeching power from you. Right. New turn.
I didn't get any action that turn.
No, that was the knights, wasn't it? You still got everyone else's actual go. Sorry, my mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, you can also hear hammering and chopping on the other side of the door that Madrock's in front of. So that was the night. Sorry, so it's Elaine's go. The king is paralysed before you.
Being a knight, you don't kill nobility. So instead, I've got this Templar still embedded on the end of my sword.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and drag it back out through his armor, hopefully severing an artery in the process.
Well, no. Obviously, you've got to first stop and ask him his lineage.
Wait. I think certain mistakes are allowable during combat. Okay. His defense is 12, so make your attack.
Ooh, 1 second. I actually think I missed. Yes, miss.
Okay. So you try to drag, but he's pulling the right way away from you at the time, so you're unable to pull it through him, and it just gets yanked free. Becca.
Okay, so it's Kerridan's been flanked and isolated. So
Yep.
So I'll have to give ground and protect her. Can I reach one of those knights who's attacking her?
Yep, you can move in and make sure that one of them has to engage with you rather than her. So sort of barge in at the side. Right, his defense is 12, so make your attack.
Right. Ooh, 12, I think that's it. What's my attack is 24. Yes. bang on the money.
Okay, roll armor penetration.
It's 9.
And damage.
It's a heavy hitting sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. 4. Spoke too soon.
Well, that's something. Right, so Kerridan, you're sort of falling back, desperately trying to protect yourself when Becca sort of comes barging in,
Thank goodness.
knocks one of the Templars aside, it's probably fracturing a rib or something even through his armour. Right, Madrock.
You little bugger.
Okay. Well, that's still stung, even though it healed up. So, with my brand shiny new attack of 23, going to try and split this guy from
something to somewhere else. Yes.
Well, yeah, as long as it hurts.
Yep. Okay.
With a 5, I hit.
Yeah, its defense is 12, so yep, that's a hit.
With that, I get a plus 4 on the armor bypass.
Yep, so roll the armor bypass.
And I rolled maximum, so 12 armor bypass.
And roll damage.
So I won't get that on the damage now, will I? Yeah. Okay, so 6 in total, which is still good for me.
Yeah. Okay, you lash out with your blade and pass through the visor slit of his armour and stab him quite horrendously through the eye. He just topples backwards from your blow. He's a deaded.
Really?
Yes.
You nasty.
Was he already wounded?
He's dead. You don't have to care. As long as he's down.
Well, yeah.
Was that a nightmare reference, Jack?
Yes.
Ooh,
Glad you picked up on it.
Right. So, Kerridan's turn. So, Becca's dragged one of these knights off you, but one remains. Did John have to talk
You
again?
muted?
The dog's gone wild.
Oh, okay. Do you want to...
Is the king dead?
The king's paralysed, he's not dead.
Just, can you type what you want to do instead?
Yeah, if you type what you want to do until the dog calms down, I'll do it for you.
Yes, it seems the rumours are true about the Algadar Templars being witch hunter specialists.
Yeah. Okay, so...
She's attempting to reason with them.
So Kerridan casts Firestorm. No, wait, no, I'm kidding. Kerridan stands forth. Says, "Stand down, all of you, or I'll rupture your king's heart inside his very chest." Still holding the Legion baton, but clenching a fist towards him. The king can't really do anything because he's paralysed. So we'll have to wait till next turn to see how people react. Right, and that is the end of that turn. It looks like the knights will stand down, apart from the two Templar types who are fighting Becca and Kerridan. So, Abbas, what do you wish to do?
Is the knight that I've paralysed, is he still...
The king is still paralysed, yeah.
Alright. No, I thought I paralysed one of the knights, didn't I?
No, you said the king.
Oh, right, okay. I will attack one of the knights that's coming towards me then. I don't know. I'm looking at my spells. I can't use them.
Yeah. Well, he looks like he's willing to stand down after Kerridan's shout. So do you want to attack him anyway? Or...
No.
Okay. So sort of hold your action, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. King is still paralysed. Caesura.
I'm going to knock the king out.
Knock him out.
Yeah, make sure he stays permanently out. Not killing him, but just...
Just comatose forever.
Yeah,
That's actually a really good idea.
Okay, so you smack him on the back of the head with the pommel of your blade. And
yep.
Even though he's paralysed, his body slumps. Alright. The knights remain stood down, but on guard, apart from those other two. Elaine?
Seeing all these knights around me standing down, even though I'm raring for a fight and enraged by the sight of these heretics. But I'll stow my blade in front of this knight who's fighting me and say, I will give you this opportunity and this opportunity only to surrender.
For the sake of my king, he says. So, Becca, the Templar that you're fighting still seems willing to fight, as does the other one in combat with Kerridan. So what do you want to do?
Oh, I think I'll snarl at them. But I'm not going to attack. I'll just stand there and face off.
But the Templars still seem willing to fight. So,
is there any way in this game system, for example, I can just imagine Becca standing there, the cold fury in her heart, this hulking warrior woman in front of them. Their king has been threatened. All of her menace, all the confidence of us arrayed around there. Is there any way for her just to channel that into like a samurai like stare down?
Becca has the
I don't know if that's something Becca would even do, but it would really be cool. It would look awesome.
Becca has the intimidation skill, so she just has to roll under her looks on D20 to intimidate them.
Yeah, I was going to do that, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
or Blood Rage has a similar effect, but you probably don't want a Blood Rage.
not just yet, no.
No.
Just I'll try the... I'll say, should you wish to meet your god, step up and do so.
Okay, make the intimidation roll.
Yeah, I might. Yeah.
Okay. Given everyone else standing down, at least this Templar backs away, though he keeps his sword held up. He doesn't look like he's going to attack. So, Madrock, you're in a blood frenzy from the drug that you took.
Ooh, yeah, I never thought this would happen, really. But so, as Becca probably never thought she'd ever have to give me the talk of being a berserk is a huge responsibility. Yeah, one of those Templar blokes, because he walloped the sorceress.
Okay.
And at the back of his mind, he wants to look good in front of Becca, so he's going to jump on that guy.
Okay. Right. He has no idea you're coming, so no defense. So just roll under your attack.
Oh. Well, anything but 20 then. A 4, even better than last time.
Roll armor penetration.
10 in total.
Okay, and roll damage.
Got it! Finally, maximum 12 damage.
12 damage. Okay.
3 from the sword, 1 from the drugs, 8 from the dust.
So Madrock, who normally hides during battle or just sneaks out to stab someone who's otherwise occupied, hurtles across the room with the blood of a dead knight still on his sword, shrieking "Rah!" and hurls himself onto the back of the remaining Templar in combat with Kerridan. So it's just stabbing frenziedly over and over again while the Templar wheels around trying to shake him off. Now bleeding from many wounds, but still standing. Kerridan.
And the entire room erupts back into a frenzy.
Full points for this. Doesn't look like he's going to survive the onslaught. I'm just going to stand back with my fist ready and my eye on that king.
I just want to say to any viewers, drugs are bad, kids. Okay?
And I'll just look at the Templar and just itch my one finger up. He may not be conscious, but and I'll just let that hang, and then ball's in his court.
The knights sort of shift as if they might attack, but then think better of it. So really, the only combat that's still going on is the knight that Madrock's now clinging to the back of, stabbing repeatedly. So does anyone else want to interfere in any way with that combat?
No, I'm just going to step back and make sure I don't get wet.
Did Madrock close the doors?
Sorry, what?
Did Madrock close the doors to this?
Yeah, he did lock the doors, which you can hear bashing and chopping sounds against. Right. What's Madrock's defense? 2, wasn't it?
2 or 0. It's entirely up to.
Okay. The Templar reaches back, grabs you, throws you off his back onto the floor. So, what's your armor rating?
Okay. Now being berserk, I'm assuming breakfall and such subtleties wouldn't be in my mindset.
Just
my armor factor is 5.
Okay, so you're thrown onto the ground and knocked prone, but you don't take any damage.
Okay.
Do you want to stab the ever-loving shit out of him?
Oh yeah, everything down here is even lightly armored. So
yeah.
He doesn't know it, but he's just committed a tactical error. Now you're on your back.
Yeah, well. Have they not seen cats?
Well, we'll draw a line under it there. You sort of lying on your back frenziedly and sort of stab upward repeatedly, cutting him in the thighs on the inside where the armor's a bit weaker, cutting through his arteries and bleeding him out.
Oh.
And I don't know when this stuff wears off.
Well, do the rest of you want to restrain him?
No, quite frankly, there'd be a danger of getting cut. I mean, you can just imagine he's hamstringed this guy, he's collapsed, and then he's just stabbed and just cut into the femoral arteries, or he's leaking blood all over. Oh my God. It's going to be a hamburger.
I'm still confused as to exactly what he's doing. Like, just got to hold yourself, Madrock.
Is it some
this would be wholly shocking. So I'm stunned.
It's been a few turns. Madrock, roll under your psychic talent to snap yourself out of it.
No. Yeah, rolled a 9.
Okay, you managed to direct your fury slightly and sort of move up and straddle the dead Templar, stabbing him over and over and over again until the redness disappears from your vision.
Aren't there people trying to kick the door in? They'll do.
Well, they're going to have a hard time getting through, and you probably want to use the opportunity to get away or do whatever it is that you want to do. So what do you want to do before these other knights break in?
We should gate back with the king, this king, back to our fortifications and hand him over for ransom, yes? That should pretty much put an end to all of it.
Yeah.
Don't forget the maps and all that on the table.
Oh yeah, any intel you want to gather up, like just bag everything you can, and I'll start opening our gate.
I mean, there's Templars everywhere.
Well, fortify the doors then. Like, there's a desk here. Like, just block off the door, right? Becca,
the Templars in the room with us.
Yeah, well, they've stood down, so you can just grab what you can and gate out of there as quickly as possible.
Okay.
That's my vote for what to do. I'll spend the MPs. We're definitely gating one way or the other, but what we do before then.
Yeah, you can just grab the maps and any paperwork you can. Then you tear open another gate and you'll pile through. Luckily, you'll get through before it collapses. It collapses on the last person. So you're back in your tent, back in the camp.
With the king as our hostage.
With the king as your hostage, as a limp, wet noodle.
Right, so I would suggest that it's only polite and proper that if we disarm, restrain, and then heal the king.
And yes, and gag him in case he's a sorcerer or he has psychic talents. Yes. I'll take this opportunity maybe to read his aura while he can't resist, or remove any adornments off of his body so that he's not ensorcelled by anything, and allow me to read his aura.
Yeah. His crown is mildly ensorcelled, his armour is mildly ensorcelled, his sword, and his shield.
Well, who can speak Algodav? Oh, he can speak kinesthetic, can't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Belaine, do you want to accept his parole?
We should involve Baron Aldred, no? He knows the king better than we do.
No, it's a deniable, sort of plausible deniability. This is our gig.
Okay.
So do you want to take the king to King Hadrick, or what do you want to do now you've got this hostage? It's a delicate situation.
Yes.
Should we interrogate him first and then hand him over after we've learned what we need to learn? Because I can ensorcel him and tell him, basically explain everything to us. Who are your compatriots? Who are your co-conspirators? Who's next in the chain? Like, once he's conscious, we can just peel his mind back and pull out anything we want, essentially.
Here's the thing. What if he's been duped, if he was sold a pup, if he was beguiled, if he was convinced to be part of this axis of evil, not really knowing what was going to happen, what the outcome was? Yes, you can get out of territory, but perhaps he's not.
Yeah, Sir Elaine, you served alongside people not from Algandi, but from that area in some of these Templar orders. You can't see them willingly working with a vampire lord or a dark elf or Baelor. So they seem a bit out of place.
Is it? I think that they've been told that we are all Baelor worshipping filth, and they've come to save us.
All right. So
either way, I would recommend being extremely respectful and courteous and treating the king with the respect due to his rank.
You're entirely correct in expressing that. It should definitely. It would certainly help to have a friend like this as well. Yes. So let's.
Yes. Told offer him parole. We'll disarm him. Then we'll heal him. And then we can decide where to take him next, either to the king or to Aldred.
Okay. So strip him of his armour and weapons, heal him, return him to consciousness, but bound, so he's not going to slip away. You want to talk to him before potentially.
I don't think we should even bind him. That itself might be disrespectful.
No.
Okay. So you strip him of his gear, heal his wounds, and bring him back to consciousness. So he slowly comes to on one of the camp chairs that you've got set out, and glances around himself and mutters something about devilry in his native tongue.
I speak Backhill to an intermediate level.
As an educated man, he will know Backhill, so...
Well, I'm saying to follow any Elgandov stuff, I'll have a go if it comes up.
So you have me, thanks to your dark magic and witchcraft, your service of evil powers. What will you do with me now?
I will look over at Sir Elaine before I say anything at all. He's our nominal leader and social status-wise, perhaps the highest socially ranking person here.
Yeah. Exactly what led you to believe that we are under the thrall of dark magics?
The tales of the darkness of Albion are well known. Hobgoblins, dragons, a king in the past who trucked with magic, peoples who still do, strange mists, fey folk, all manner. And those stories appear to be true. After all, you used fell magic straight from the pit to kidnap me. You call yourself a knight, and you ally yourself with this.
What is your reason for invasion, Lord King?
To bring the light of the true faith to Albion, which has long been a pagan stain off the coast of the continent.
And who are your
It's an
allies?
invasion. That's why you've got the Templars with you.
You've got a papal edict. Yeah. Do you have a papal edict?
No, but the knightly orders agreed with us and came without the edict of the Celentine Church, which has become corrupt.
Ooh. Okay, we can use that.
So Hierarch may well be in the sway of evil powers himself. So the rumours go.
I can assure you that my companion's powers are not of the devil or Baelor.
They are not of God.
How do you know that?
From their nature. Men of God serve me. They do not rent reality itself or tear out a man's heart.
You all carry items of enchantment.
Or summon pagan gods to destroy fleets.
Well, that's true enough, yeah. But Lord King, are you aware that your ally, the Lord Montebrae, was in fact
A changeling.
a doppelgar? What am I thinking of? Is it the word?
Something like
A
that.
doppelganger.
You cannot expect me to believe such lies.
Well, we can show you his rotting corpse if you like.
Oh, did you bring it with you?
Well, it's just up the road.
Yeah. How would I not know you were merely trying to control me with more illusions and witchcraft?
Pardon me one moment. I'll get up and just
He
head to the
himself
Okay.
can tell you.
Is he not allied with a vampire?
He was, but does he know that? That's the question.
Is it? Yes, and your friend, your associate, Lord Tenenbaum.
Tenebron? I've had no truck with Tenebron.
No?
No. Only with Montomba.
But we could prove that your ally was in fact of the service of Baelor.
How?
We know where his manor is. We could show you the pits underneath his castle, patrolled by the undead.
Very well. Show me this proof.
Cesora?
Mm-hmm.
No, Karazhan. Damn it, every time. Karazhan,
One
do
moment,
you
if
have
you
enough
would.
magical? Do you have enough magical energies within you to cast
Gate.
another portal?
I believe I can, but I don't know if the king would trust us or what he were seeing. He's very
Why
clearly
does
not.
Why does someone not meld their mind with him so he can see what we saw?
He needs to see it with his own eyes. He doesn't.
I do have someone who he needs to speak with. Just a moment, please. I'll be back in just a moment. I'm going to step outside the tent.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 2 moments, 2 minutes, please. And I'll whistle or call over a page boy or a camp boy or something like that.
Yeah.
And tell him to summon Lord Montombra and Lord Aldred with all haste, and tell him it's an emergency and Lady Caradon needs them here.
Can I have a token, milady, to show them that it's really from you?
Absolutely.
And to speak of the urgency?
What should I give him?
Give him. I'll take take the king's.
This king's this king's signet ring or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yes?
That would work.
This king's signet ring. Give this to Baron Aldred.
Right, the kid goes dashing off, and it's not too long until Aldred and the real Montombre turn up. Their bodyguards stay outside the tent, and they duck inside. Montombre still seems a little bit sort of spacey and over-interested in everything around him. Aldred has a pretty grim expression.
Before they come in the tent, I shall promise the king that
Have they met by this point?
that while he's in our presence, under our protection, no harm shall befall him.
They have met, though they're still a bit uneasy with each other. Montombre, the real Montombre, looks a bit like the elfin Montombre, but not entirely. So anyway, Aldred and Montombre arrive, come into the tent. You've promised your protection to the king. So come in, look around, and Aldred looks at Estebulo. God's teeth! How did you manage that?
We had a little bit of divine intervention.
I'll say.
Also, there's a bit of a storm in the harbour, and the fleet has sunk. So you just spot that.
Yeah, Estebulo shakes his head. Yeah, not godly help. Doesn't surprise me that you would ally with such infernal powers, Aldred. Your domain is well known for playing home to monsters and ghosts and beasts and pagan rites. But you, Montombre, how could you turn against me? This was your idea.
Could we bring the papers up from Tenebron's castle, please?
Yep, the ones that you took with you. So they kind of sit down and they try to thrash things out with the king. But at the end of the day, while this is sort of weakening his resolve, papers and so on aren't enough. He needs to see more. Oh, you're muted.
In that case, I stand ready to be a gate ward, a gatekeeper if we need to travel to show this estate with the undead armies and whatnot.
Yeah, the Tenebron's army would probably be the more convincing one, because you've already got the letters associating him with Montombre and the cults in the north. So,
is there an advisor or an ecclesiastical authority that the king wants by his side as a witness, someone he would trust? Is there anyone? Would that enhance his level of trust of us?
A messenger could be sent to the city to retrieve Estebulo's sort of personal priest to come with him.
Is that something that Aldred and my peers would allow, or is that even a good idea?
Yeah, they'd allow that. It's a reasonable idea. I mean, he's going to be outraged at the magic, but hopefully he'll be more outraged at the giant army of undead.
Okay.
As if we have a flag of truce and a passport, I'll go and fetch him.
Yep. So you ride down to the city. The soldiers are in disarray. They're sort of turning over the city looking for the king and redoubling their defences. But when you arrive under a flag of truce, it is honoured, and you're escorted in. It's a little unnerving to be surrounded by so many enemies.
As soon as we do that, Hagrid will become aware.
Yes, that is the downside. So do you still want to go ahead with that, or if you don't fly the flag of truce until you get close, you might get away with it?
Well, what is Aldred's opinion? Does he want to keep this on the QT?
Until we convince him, we should keep it quiet.
Yeah.
I'll distract the king. You get as close as you can before raising the flag of truce.
Right, let's come in with me.
Yeah. Okay. So Caradon goes into a trance with her magic fan to restore some magic while you're dealing with this.
And if this time I'll have a written passport.
Yeah.
With the king's seal.
Or something close to the king's seal. Well, this king, yes. Estebulo's seal. Yeah. You're used to sort of pillaging and ravaging settlements. You've just never seen it done on this grand scale before. It's quite impressive. But you're escorted through to the keep by the port, though it's been damaged by the storm and the hide-on. But with the letter of passport, the priest is introduced to you. They trust that even you, a pagan warrior, will not slaughter the priest out of hand. You instantly take a dislike to him, though. He has a very severe aspect, or sneers like he's above everyone and everything around him. And the back of his cassock is matted to his skin with blood. Where he's scourged himself, you think.
Yeah, he's a flagellant witch hunter, isn't he?
Mm. So he's but he does return with you on a pony, without any guards, trusting to this kind of immunity that the church generally gets. A lot of animated conversation with Estebulo follows, but he ultimately has to concede to his king. Very well, we're ready. So then, Kerridan can cast the portal.
The command.
Yeah. Do you want to teleport right into the underworld with the undead?
I don't know if that would be as convincing.
Inside the manor first.
It would be better
so that they know that this is
where
actually Tenenbaum's manor rather than
exactly. We need to go
cave.
outside, right, and then make our way in so they recognize the lands, the climate, the position of the sun, all of that.
Yeah. So if it's
Aren't
just
you glad we didn't destroy this place?
Yeah.
So if it's just, say, Elaine, Estebulo, Kerridan. Well, Kerridan doesn't actually need to go. She can hold the gate open. So Elaine, Estebulo, the priest, maybe one other person. You might be able to hold the gate open rather than having to cast it twice.
There's no worry with me casting it twice. I have the energy. I should be able to. I have a potion ready.
Okay. So you tear the hole in reality again. You feel your magic powers that you've built up again starting to wane once more, and you pass through. Tenebron's manor, now that you've thrown open all the windows and have left it open for a couple of days, it's a lot fresher and airier and feels a lot nicer. But you show him the papers that you already got, and further papers and letters and so on in the study, some of which seem to bear his own seal, but he swears up and down he never sent those letters. And then from the library you descend the secret staircase down into the underworld and observe the rank upon rank upon rank of armed skeletons stood in there. And the others, animate, still digging to show that there is unnatural power here and it's not just a burial site. The priest confirms to the king that this is real, that this is no illusion, that the papers seem to be genuine. My liege, there is a harsh reality that we must face as witch hunters. Some infernal powers are worse than others.
We just moved down on the list. We're not at the top anymore.
This pagan witch may have to face the fire.
Surprisingly reasonable.
Yes, that pagan witch may have to face the fire at some point. But this necromancy on this scale, the cult of Baelor, all the other elements, we must deal with that threat first. Other things can wait, my liege.
And you are correct. Astora's faith has waned. Unfortunate as it is, unfortunate as it is for me to say.
Perhaps we can come to an accommodation.
And when the time is that
so the false
we could
the false Montambre is dead. And Tenebron is destroyed. And I am defeated and humiliated here. but these letters mention other forces, the cult of Baelor. Has that threat been dealt with?
I don't believe so.
Not yet.
We've destroyed several high priests and dark druids and dozens of cultists.
The plan was for us to hold Clyster and distract the forces of the south. We were to be reinforced from the north once Glissom was defeated, supposedly by Montombra's allies. I assumed Mercanians and other Northmen. Now I wonder.
Glissom is the only other point we know that is yet to be dealt with. We know that it is either a threat or is under threat by the forces of Baelor. It is the last, I guess, the last target we need to snipe at.
Then we should unite our armies, march north.
Fortunately, we have a good relationship with King Doran.
There is one
I believe
little problem I can see. Yeah. I mean, we didn't like it when you came along to liberate our country from Dog. I don't think Glissom's going to fancy it much either.
We will not stay. We will eradicate the threat and return home to lick our wounds. But I should talk with Hadric. Why haven't I talked with Hadric already?
He has so much to.
You need to find out who's on the
king.
Well, let us return and talk with Hadric.
we needed to make sure that you yourself were who you were and not another changeling with dark arts before you were introduced to the king. Too grave a threat. You can see what people can do when they're properly motivated, I guess. Your parole hopefully is a point in our favor with regards to our goodwill. I think now this is a matter for barons and kings to hash out.
Okay. So you all get the chance to rest and do other odd little bits and pieces if you want. You can have a health point back each and restore lost magic points and psychic exhaustion while the kings and lords thrash things out.
I'll maximize the efficiency of that by healing everyone before I rest and then going through my rest if I can.
Okay, so yeah. We'll just say that's enough to heal everyone up.
Sure.
There does seem to have come to some sort of agreement between them all, though Hadric clearly feels sort of flustered and outmaneuvered. The whisperers in the camp are that Hadric just wanted to execute Estebulo and drive his men into the sea as a punishment for invading the land, but the barons united to defy him. At least that's the scuttlebutt, and they kind of forced him to back down because without the barons he wouldn't have the men or the money to do so. They threatened a tax rebellion in the end, and that's what made him back down. So
did Baron Aldred lead that charge, or was he one of the quiet ones?
He provoked someone else into doing it because he's an old hand at these sorts of
He's
things.
smart.
Yeah, and then go on.
And also they can blame us, can't they? Well, actually, they can blame Elaine, really, because it's entirely his fault.
It's my fault.
Well,
What did I do?
Because you're in charge, aren't you? That's why it's your fault.
But the combined armies are now breaking camp and heading north.
It's brilliant. But I don't believe that Glissom is our enemy.
No, I'm sure there must be a secret stronghold of the cult of Baelor somewhere.
I guess there is one more last chapter
Not
to go
in
through,
a
or is
Nordic
this the
Well,
wind up?
delve.
I can wind this up in a short period of time if you're willing to stick around for another 15 minutes, half an hour.
Oh, I'm golden.
Yeah, sure. I haven't got anything to say.
Because you've kind of outmaneuvered my plotting by being very, very clever and freeing Montombre and taking on his army and turning him into an ally and turning the
Or
Algandans
it's
into allies.
set up for a new campaign later on.
But we have made enemies of the Templars, and they don't forgive, do they?
They don't forgive or forget, yeah.
No.
Okay, so it is a very long march of days north through the mountains. It's a hard journey through the outskirts of Erewhon, through the pagan mountains, and finally into Glissom itself and marching down on its city. There's not really a lot I can give you to do in this because you've kind of sidelined it all with uniting the armies. But your combined armies come down towards the rocky shores of Glissom, where the city stands on its rock, and it is besieged. But Glissom has never been breached, and Doron, for all his enormous character flaws, is a man who knows how to fight. And they're besieged by what looks like an army from a frozen hell. There are Fomorians, there are blue men marching up out of the seas, there are frost giants battering at the walls with enormous clubs before they're peppered with arrows. Glissom is on the verge of breaking, despite being such a powerful defensive city. But when your armies arrive, they catch the forces of Baelor and the remnants of the other dark armies completely by surprise. Knights, thousands of them, more than have ever been assembled on Albion before, let up a cry and a prayer and charge down like a great silver wave of horse flesh and plate mail, driving the unnatural creatures back into the sea. Crossbowmen from the mainland, the mercenaries, who are happy to fight for anybody for coin, have come along, still being paid by Algandi, and they bring down the frost giants with massed crossbow fire, and there's nothing they can really do to protect themselves. They can't close in on the crossbowmen before they've just death of 1,000 cuts over and over again. Joining the battle lines, wherever you guys go, you strike fear and terror into these dark powers, and your swords of Valandar finally glow, something that Sisora has been waiting for them to do for a very long time. And there are visions of the great knights and Valandar, and all of those knights of legend appear alongside. There's just nothing that can stand against such a united force. Nothing whatsoever. Caridon's magic blasting here and there, burning creatures from the walls, drawing down lightning. Elaine at the head of a column of knights, cleaving his way almost distractedly through creatures and stealing the nerve of the knights that falter in the face of these horrors. Becca and the Northmen fall upon the Fomorians, who have long been their blood enemies. Great charges of battle elks cut a swathe through them, and then berserker warriors hack them to pieces on the ground. You see one group of berserkers climb up a frost giant using their axes. He pulls some of them from his body and breaks them on the rocks, but there's just too many. They climb all over him, blind him by piercing his eyes with spears, and then just hack him down bit by bit, cutting through tendons and muscle until the giant falls face first into the port waters and drowns. It's a fantastical battle. Abbas, with other mystics and the forces of the church, is able to counter many of the dark magics that the priests and cultists try to bring forth. Madrock and Sisora are able to sneak around the lines, destroying their resources, assassinating their leaders. And at the end of 5 days of bloody battle with barely any rest, finally it seems that you've turned the corner and the battered remnants disappear back to the north. The ice that they used as a bridge to enter Glissom melts behind them. Whatever remnants are left, Baelor is not going to be a force in this country for a long time. Finally, the great battered gates of Glissom are hauled open, and Doron and wee Hamish emerge with a few bloodied and battered knights of Glissom alongside them.
Hamish!
And the
Hamish! I'm so glad you wasn't lying. You survived.
Doron sort of looks at you.
Oh, and you.
Elaine, you wee bastard, how are you doing?
I'm perfectly fine. And what about
Becca!
yourself?
Begin! Give us a hug.
You didn't invite to the party. Where's the invite?
Says alright, you ugly bastard. Still hideous?
Use the flesh potion.
It was a glorious battle.
Wait, Nami, who would have thought it? Christ, and coming all the way up here to save us.
Oh, Doran, I've got some people for you to meet. Here, put your best kilt on. Here, there's Hadrick.
What
And
do you mean? This is my best kilt. It's just got blood and viscera on it.
There's Hadrick and Estabulo.
Hadrick. Aye, King of Albion.
It's...
Although the kings come together.
I don't believe this.
And start to talk. But Doron steps aside from the kings again and says, I know this was you. And Becca, lass, I'm still nae married.
Well, was that a question? Or
Aye. Did you bring your da with you? I can pay the bride price. Just give me a moment to loot these scunners. Come on, I need a strong queen.
I'll think on it. Yeah.
She's got another suitor in Madrock, no?
And what's his name? Edric.
I don't think I've ever actually said that aloud to anybody.
No, you just
Least of all Becca.
It's just whenever Becca turns up, you seem to be cleanly dressed and well brushed.
If you had a tail, it would wag.
I'd imagine Carradine might pick up on it simply because I wouldn't. I mean, it's like noticing someone's hair or that their outfit matches. It just doesn't register. You know, how do you like my hair? Does it look different? I don't know. It's hair.
Well, the kings go off to treat with one another, and finally calm descends. And for the first time ever, your swords don't seem to be pulling you in any particular direction. You're absolutely heroes of the land, successors of Valandar. There are doubtless other adventures to come. The land has been torn by this war. The loss of Tenebron leaves a power vacuum. The cult of Baelor still lurks in the shadows. But for now, you have won and brought peace, at least for a time, to Albion. And perhaps a new alliance of kings across the land, even further afield.
And maybe a new discussion in the ranks of the church about the origin and nature of these powers.
Yes, perhaps some sort of licensing arrangement for certain magicians. or at least putting them lower on the totem pole of danger. But our campaign draws to a close. Thank you all for playing and watching.
That's a good end.
Although I can think of one more conquest.
What's that?
We're only a stone's throw away from the tomb of Baelor.
You want to go back and slay a god? Well, maybe that's where our heroes disappear as the setup for some further campaign by someone else, but not me.
That's always the logical ending point for most campaigns.
Don't fight a demon lord.
That would make sense, actually, to rest and celebrate life and plan and slowly unfold and put that in a back pocket for years from now. Who knows? In game and in real life.
But again, thank you all for playing and being patient with the bumps on the road. It was good to play. You did, true. So I started this campaign because of the lockdown. I wanted people to have something to do, and I'm glad we got a nice group together and got through that, and it's helped my confidence in running games online. I'm going to take a bit of a break, but then I might start a new campaign at some point in the future of something else. But if it wasn't for the games with you guys, I don't think I'd have had the confidence to take up the opportunity to do the paid game that I'm running. So I really am grateful for the opportunity to get some gaming done and to build my confidence and to get through a whole campaign. So again, thank you very much. Does anyone else want to say anything before we pass over to Old School to promote his charity drive?
I would just like to return the thanks for being an awesome DM, for being literary, for being restrained, and for being just creative and imaginative. You've done a good bit of work. I've enjoyed myself. It's not often I get to play. I'm one of those forever DMs. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But I'll turn the mic over. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. No. Okay.
You got it through the entire campaign without saying the N-word. Not even once.
Not even once. Okay, Old School then. Do you want to just run over your charity effort again quickly?
Oh, thanks, Jim. Yes. So, Dementia UK have a campaign in October called Raise Your Game, which is sponsored board gaming and RPG during October. We have a Facebook. So myself and a couple of others in the local area are organising some online and face-to-face RPG one-shots. We have a Facebook page and a Discord server, and I'll ping the links to Jim. And so we'll be trying to organise some events during October, which you will welcome. I have a Dragon Warriors one-shot planned. I know there's going to be there's a 7th Sea one-shot, and I think a Call of Cthulhu one-shot and a D&D one-shot for certain online. And the money will go to fund the Admiral nurses that give one-to-one care for sufferers of dementia. So it's a win-win. Here we get to play games and we get to fund a worthy cause. So thanks for the support, Jim.
Yeah, no problem. You give me the information on that, and I'll put something on my main channel and probably something on this channel. I'll post a blog and social media stuff on it. I've had a few not close family members, but somewhat more removed family members who've suffered from dementia. I met Terry Pratchett a couple of times, who obviously we lost to dementia, and that was a great loss. He probably had a lot more books in him, so it's definitely a worthy cause, and it's an increasing issue as the population continues to get older and live longer. So yeah, definitely whatever I can do to support, I will. But we'll see. All right, I think we'll draw a line under it there. Thank you to everyone who watched along, particularly Dave Morris, creator of Dragon Warriors, who has watched along and has had good things to say about everyone's performances and the game in general. So that really I was dead chuffed by that. I were.
Yeah, I sometimes read his blog. It's quite entertaining.
Yeah. Him and Jamie Thompson both watch and both have said wonderful things about the campaign. So yeah.
Didn't you mention they were working on a revised or modernized version of the rules, or they had licensed it out or something?
Serpent King Games do Dragon Warriors now and still hold the license. There's been talk of an advanced Dragon Warriors. I don't know whether that's going to play out. There's been renewed interest in Dragon Warriors, so I think Serpent King are planning to do something else.
Yeah, there's some new material coming out at the end of this year, I think, and beginning next.
And there's a fanzine called Casket of Fays, and the people behind that are putting out some free material here and there. Dragon Warriors is definitely an underrated game that's well worth checking out.
I really hope whatever company ends up holding or getting next the Witcher role-playing game. What were you holding up, Ian?
That is the hardback edition of the current Dragon.
Oh, it's a beautiful looking book. But I think it's a perfect system to do The Witcher. I don't think the interlock system is the best fit. So
yeah, I even made up a Witcher class for for Dragon Warriors. It's on my blog somewhere from years ago. Anyway, we'll call it a night there. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you all at some point in the future. Keep an eye out for whatever campaign I decide to do next. Bye bye.
Will do. Good night, all.